Okay. All right. Must I turn it off again? Okay. Good afternoon and a very warm welcome from a cloudy Durban. We are coming live to you from Hollwoodbets Kingsmead, where the Hollwoodbets Dolphins play host to the ITEC Knights. Unfortunately, we have a delayed match and a delayed start. And word from the middle is that the ITEC Knights have won the toss and have elected to bat first. I am joining commentary, well, myself being Vian Duplessis. I'm joining commentary by Quinton Lunica. Quinton, welcome.
Welcome. Quite happy you got my surname right. So you're off to a good start, yeah? Should be a good, nice session. But hey, the rain has finally stopped, so we're gonna get some cricket finally. I'm looking at the weather. We should get our 20 over game finished today, I think. I mean, it's a good start for the Dolphins. I think out of also won the toss, out of bowled first, not batted. Look at the Dolphins team. Not much has changed from the team from Friday. So I'm just hoping, we get a good game of cricket. We actually get to finish the game. You and I've been here since what time? 7 o'clock?
Yeah, we've been here a while. Luckily, the hospitality has been good here at Kingsmead. Well, the ITEC Knights maybe changing the tactics a bit, having a bat first day, having bowled first for all the previous games, I think. Maybe a change of methods bring about a change of result for them.
Yeah, I mean, they've always bowled first. So I think today they're saying, let's go in there and bat. I think looking at the weather, I think it's a good call by the captain to bat first. I think later on, the Dolphins might find it hard to chase because if it does get cloudy and the cloud comes in, could get some swing. So I think the captain's made a good call here to bat first. But I mean, we'll see from the first 5 overs, I think, where the game will go.
So the batsmen out in the middle for the ITEC Knights, Gian Klute and Jock Snyman. Klute, of course, to face up first. And from the old fort end, it will be Darren de Pavillon for the Dolphins.
I think we're gonna be looking at some nice carry here outside off stumps so we can get some nick-offs. It is cloudy conditions, so I'm wondering if the white ball will swing today. It normally swings in Durban, especially when it's like this. So that's why I think the call to bat is kind of 50-50. But I mean, let's see. We're sitting with one slip, am I correct? So I mean, maybe the captains know things we don't know. If you're sitting there with one slip, I might have had 3. Brendan McCullum here, World Cup stuff.
De Pavillon coming around the wicket to the left-handed Klute.
Oh, hey, see that call when I get a second slip? Get rid of square leg, get a second slip in there.
And de Pavillon on the money straight up. The field setting at this stage, obviously the bowler and keeper, there's a slip in place. He's at a wideish 1.5 slip. It's John Smut situated slip. They have a wideish third man, point cover, extra cover, mid on and mid off. 45 inside the circle, mid on and a deep square leg. Looks like he's slightly behind square on the onside, as we see de Pavillon to continue from around the wicket.
Second ball. Oh, that's just one off the mark. Always settles the nerves and you get off the mark nice and early. But I mean, second ball in, and I'm still convinced I would definitely have a second slip in there. I guess having a square leg at this point on the boundary just to keep the batsman honest for that short one that he might drop. But I think if I was the captain and you bowled a short one, you would follow the ball and get off the field. Let's get a picture up now. Let's get our second slip catching.
That single, of course, bringing Jock's name on strike. We do see a deep square leg out on the fence for the right-handed Snyman. Of course, Snyman being dismissed, caught that deep square leg
a few times.
Both his previous innings, of course, as de Pavillon continues.
Oh, some decent pace, eh? Pitch looks to be lively. It's been under covers, I think, since Friday. Since Friday, it's rained a lot here in Durban, so I'm sure we're gonna get some action off the wicket as well. I mean, the first ball seems to be the only ball that's kind of swung. So I'm thinking if he's able to hit the seam, we should get some action off the pitch that's been covered for a day and a half.
Pavilion now halfway through his first as he continues from over the wicket. Strays onto the pads and tucked away nicely by Snyman, who gets himself off and running.
So, I mean, game being shortened to 20 overs. If you are the Knights, I mean, you haven't had a good start to the season. Some say they haven't started at all. What do you think they're looking at? What total are they looking at in 20 overs? Think they've got a total in mind, or 22 overs? 22 overs. What total do you think they have in mind?
Pavilion to continue to Kluter.
Ooh.
Outside the off stump, and we have grown accustomed to seeing Kluter not being shy of throwing his hands, the cupboard and the kitchen sink at anything outside the off stump. Look, this is my first time at Kingsmead, to be honest. I don't quite know what the past scores here usually are for let's work on 20 over matches, as we are playing in fact a 22 over match with the reduced game. They'll probably look, I do however feel a shorter game might suit them at this stage, especially in this campaign as we see the Pavilion to finish out his first.
Great ball, that little bit of in swing there. Nice start for the Dolphins.
That brings an end to the first over. The score now 2 for no loss after 1 wicket. And I do feel the Knights might be targeting anything, if there's anything in the surface, probably around 150, 160 as a minimum, perhaps. I don't know what the locals think is a good score here at Kingsmead.
I think at Kingsmead, I mean, 2020 cricket, because I know it's 22 overs, but 2020 cricket, past scores have been around the 150, 145. So I think if the Knights were to get 160, I think they'd be very, very happy with that. I mean, if you saw the Dolphins' last game, it wasn't a high-scoring game as well. And with the game being shortened now to 22 overs, so if the Knights could get, I think, about 160, 145, I think they would be happy with that.
Othniel Bartman. And a bit of a blunder in the field.
I think this is what happens when you've been sitting in the change room for too long.
Might have had a good nap leading up to this match.
It always happens with a few donuts.
A bit of a mishap in the field. See Snyman get off strike, bringing the left-handed Kluter on strike. Of course, Othniel Bartman previously has played for the Knights, moving down to the Dolphins the last 2 seasons, and really he's had a good time down here.
Yeah, I think with Bartman, he bowls a heavy ball. I think he's the one guy that hits the surface hard. So I think with the pitch being covered for so long, he might get some assistance off the wicket, because he does bowl a really, really heavy ball. And we see second ball of the day. Oh.
Kluter goes hard at that one outside off stump into the vacant slip region. I don't however feel that would have gone to hand.
Nah, it would have just gone over. But I honestly feel for the conditions, I'd take 2 slips and put them in there. I doubt anyone at the moment for the first 5-6 overs is going to be driving successfully through the covers. So I think just be attacking and get some 2 slips in there.
Bartman now to continue from around the wicket to Kluter. Steer towards the widest third man region. They'll push for 2 and come back easily. I do feel the shorter game suits this Knights lineup. Snyman and Kluter especially being prolific shorter format players over the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, I think it's the mindset of the team right now. Where is their mind at? Do they feel that they're in the game? Because the game has been shortened now. So I think if they feel that the shortened format brings them closer, we should get ourselves a good game. Third ball of the day. Oof. Big swing outside off. Can you have a movement off the pitch here?
Kluter, of course, not going to die wandering outside the off stump, practicing a forward defensive after that one. Don't imagine him playing too many of those today.
I think he's trying to keep the field the same, make the captain think he's going to block next ball.
Bartman to continue to Klute.
Oi! I think we need to get in the second slip, first slip there. I'm not sure if I've got the captain's cell phone number, but I'll give him a call from up here. I mean, you'd hate to get a nick past keeper and it goes for 4.
Yeah, ideally at this stage of the ball moving about, you'd like to have a catcher in position, but with the nature of the game being an aggressive one with the shorter format, perhaps not wanting to open up too many gaps in the field, as we see Bartman pushed into the offside and they scamper through for a single. That single brings an end to the second over. The score now 10 for no loss after 2, and a rather reserved start here from the ITEC Knights.
It's a steady start. I mean, I think the team talk in the change room must have been, let's see the first 4 overs. See the first over, see what the ball is doing. And I think from there, one of them needs to pick up their hand and say, okay, mate, I'm going to go for it. Because, I mean, it's a shortened game, so there's not much time to get your eye in, even though it's 50 overs. But it's shortened to 22. So I think we've had 3 overs now. I think after this over, we'll kind of have an idea of who's going to take on the game. Because we've got a change in bowling. We've got the captain coming into bowl. Because maybe there'll be grip on the pitch because of the covering of maybe some dew. So maybe the ball will stop. So I think this is probably a good call by the captain to bring himself on.
Yeah, we see Penelin Subrian, the experienced campaigner. There's of course his 88th first or list A game for the Dolphins. He will be coming from the Old Fort end. He has only the 2 fielders outside, of course, it being the power play, has a deeper wicket in place and a long off. No slip in place, 4 guys patrolling the offside as he comes around the wicket.
Oh.
Some inventive batting from Klute, going on the reverse lap, getting off strike.
I think that's what we love about our game these days. You never know what kind of shot you're going to get. I think from the Dolphins, this is a good call for me. I think the batsmen, after the 3 overs, had kind of set their mind how they're going to go and play. And with the first change of the game being a spin, it kind of changes the game plan for me. Oi.
That one just looking to slide on with the arm. The field now for Snyman. There's a long on, rather straight long on in place, and a deeper wicket out on the east boundary.
I think, as you can see, the ball is being pushed through a bit quicker, a bit flatter. I think we're just trying to choke here, create some panic in the change room. Haven't got off to a good start. Nice shot that. Over, and that's gone. Our first 6 of the day. Big hit. Boom, boom, boom. I think we're getting ready for some fireworks now.
An excellent shot from Snyman. It really hasn't been the ITEC Knights season thus far. Maybe this shorter format giving him the freedom to maybe launch into something more prolific. Snyman not going to die wondering as he dispatches that one over deeper wicket for 6 runs.
I think, I mean, the first 3 overs, played and missed a few. It's great cricket, You hit a 6, take a 1, keeps the board ticking. And it was a big shot, cleared the front leg and put it on the bank. So I think Snyman will get some confidence from that shot. Hopefully to push him on to a nice start for the Knights.
So Brian now, once again coming around the wicket to the left-handed Klute. One more delivery to come in the over. We work towards the onside where mid-on does the tidying up. That brings an end to the 3rd over. The score now 19 for no loss after 3. Klute sitting on 10 not out while Snyman on 9. What have you made of the start here, Quinton?
It is a very conservative start for the Knights. I think they've set the foundation because it's a short format now. So we've had, what is that? We've had 3 overs, 4 overs now. So I think they've laid a platform of some sort, whether they can go hard. I think Stamon is the man now that I think is kind of set. And I can think he can take on the bowling.
It will be Bartman to continue from the Umgeni end. Coming around the wickets.
Catch it.
Down the track and blazed over the offside. Similani gives chase for the Dolphins, reels it back in as the Knights come back for 2. Quinton, you mind taking us through the Dolphins lineup?
Well, the Dolphins have not changed much. I mean, we've got Smart, Ditole, Ackerman, Diswat, Smith, Bekeshwayo, Pretorius, Subrime, and we've got Similani, and Devolyun and Bartman. It's kind of the same team that they've been trying to keep in the camp. I think for some consistency, really. You know, if you look at the start that the Knights have had so far, I think the Knights, like you said, the shorter the game, the greater the chance they have.
That previous ball, of course, being pulled into the vacant mid-wicket region. Not quite middling it, but getting off strike. And now the dangerous Snowman on strike as we see Long On being pushed back.
The captain is talking to the boys now and saying, "Come on, lads, let's tighten up here on our disciplines on the fielding side."
And the wicket of Snowman, of course, bringing to the crease the exciting Nathan Rue playing in his second List A game. Of course, debuting on Friday against the Wanderers, and he looked good for his time spent in the middle. He made a well-constructed 28, a neat 28, played some lovely shots, being dismissed by an absolute snort of a delivery from Evan Jones and a catch to boost from Rickleton behind the stump. So a bit unlucky there, and he'd look to pounce here today on this shorter format game.
I think as he comes on, I'm sure he's got a message that he must have been relayed from the change room as to what they might be looking to get. Because I think that's the trick sometimes in shortened games. What target does the change room have in mind? It kind of gives the batsman a platform as to when not to go. It's been a solidish start by the Knights. I think this partnership will kind of give us all an idea what the change room is thinking.
Will be De Pavillon to continue. Deep square leg in place and a rather fine third man. Covers packed as you see a shortish extra cover in place. Pavillon will be coming over the wickets to Rue.
Oh.
Down the leg side, first up from the Pavillon. The Dolphins, of course, sitting 5th on the log in the CSA one-day competition. They've had a bit of an indifferent campaign so far. They haven't been playing bad cricket. Haven't quite got the results to go their way thus far. Of course, having won their last game against the Warriors by 31 runs.
I think for the Dolphins, it's a funny season. It's a funny, like you say, they haven't been good, they haven't been great. Would have some games didn't go our way that I felt Dolphins should have won. And I think, it's a great ball, just nipping back, but back onto pad. So like a game like today, we've lost games, or the Dolphins have lost games where you felt they should have won. They've been in some good positions to win a few games and didn't close it out. So I think the message, especially on a game like this, that disciplines, basics, let's cover the basics, and we should win. We should win games, and we should have won more games than we've lost. Really, a different season from the season before. So.
As the Pavillon continues. Nicely negotiated into the cover region. Tidied up by Rohan de Swart. De Swart obviously someone back into the lineup for the Dolphins, having missed out earlier on in the season due to injuries. And a vital part of this Dolphins lineup over the last few seasons. Obviously batting right in the heart of the engine room. Bowling a few handy overs.
I think that's the That's the thing in games. You need your big players to perform more, taking off the pressure of teams.
Once again, down the leg side from the Babylon. The Babylon, of course, being another Protea cap player
Yes,
for the
yes.
Dolphins.
I think he was just trying to reach for extra pace and he kind of fell over just a little bit. I think this is a good time for the Dolphins to really squeeze, really dry up, create some pressure. And we've had two wides that kind of releases the pressure. So I think the next two overs are vital for the Dolphins to create some pressure, and you better at the crease. The main thing is no freebies.
As the Babylon reloads once more. A bit straight and worked off his pads. It's Ackerman who does well at mid-wicket to reel it back in. Roo getting off the mark, and he'd be relieved to have gotten off the mark. Is Roo.
I think any better that's played the game will tell you the longer you stay on that dreaded duck, panic sets in. I think off the mark in the first over that he was in is good. It's been an indifferent over here. A lot of wides. Hopefully he can close it off.
As the exciting left-handed Klute is on strike. As the Babylon comes around the wicket. Glazed over the covers.
That's a top shot.
Just plugging a bit in the outfield. Ackerman once again gives chase, but could not reel it in. That adds 4 more to the total. The score now 36 for 1 after 5 overs. As the Knights look to resurrect their campaign here at Hollwoodbets.
The curse of bowling an extra ball. It always finds the boundary. And as you saw the pitch outside off stump, dispatched to the boundary. You know, it wasn't a really good over. And as you can see, as he walks off to his mark, kicking the ground there, he's not really happy with himself. I think we're having a change here in the bowling for the Dolphins. I think we're getting our second spinner coming in. Getting our second spinner coming in as we see a field change.
It will be John Smuts coming in from the Umgeni end. This end, of course, being the commentary box end. Us being situated right above his bowling arm, coming left arm around the wicket to the right-handed Roo. That 5th over did see the end of the first batting power play, as we see 4 fielders now being situated on the fence. On the knee and swept away behind square leg. Just sits in the field as it races away, just making it to the fence.
It just gets over the puddles that side. That's where there's a lot of water. The covers are there. So as they pull the covers off, a lot of water gets left behind. But it's a great shot. It comes across off stump, paddles it down to fine leg for 4. It's a nice start for the Knights.
As we see a change in the field. Deep in wicket now moving towards deep square leg. The other 3 guys out on the fence being long on, long off, and a sweeper on the cover boundary. As Smuts continues around the wicket. Bit of turn on offer as that one is squeezed into the offside. Bit of a scamper. Sees Roo
caught on the back foot there. Batsman's looked up and they scampered for a single. Bit of turn there from Smuts.
That single, of course, bringing the left-handed Klute on strike. This field now, deep square leg, deep in wicket, long on, mid off, up in the ring. And sweep out on the cover fence as Smuts continues around the wicket. That is pulled down the ground towards long on, where the Swart is out patrolling.
It was really butchered down just for a single. We've seen some turn here. There's a bit of assistance, yeah. We had one just going away.
Punched down the ground by Roo for a single.
Roo's got off to a nice start here. You know, nice start. His run rate's pretty good.
Obviously a frustration, the left-hand, right-hand combination with the field having to move all the time. As these Smuts continue around the wicket. Klute with the dancing shoes on, comes down the track, works that one towards the onside for a single.
I think as a batting team, you always want to have right hand, a left hand combination at the crease. It unsettles the bowler to get a rhythm going. And as you can see now, I think because of the right hand left hand combination.
Roo might have felt he missed out on a slightly short ball there from Smuts. Nevertheless, bringing it into his first over. The score now 44 for 1 after 6. And 4 bowlers being utilized thus far for the Dolphins. Of course, being blessed with numerous options is the captain, Subrian.
Yeah, I think that's the blessing of the Dolphins. I mean, nearly everybody bowls on the team. I mean, you can even take the gloves off the keeper and he might give you a bowl. But I mean, it's a nice start for the Knights. I mean, after 6 overs, 44 on the board with one down, I think this gives them a base, at the end in the last 6 overs to launch. If they don't lose any wickets here, I mean, the captain has put himself back on the bowling. But I think Dolphins just need to reel it in a bit. They're starting to leak some runs.
Of course, Subrian coming back on for his second over of the match. He's coming from the old forward end. 4 fielders outside on the fence. He has deep square leg, deep mid wicket, long off, mid on, up in the ring as he comes around the wicket.
Oh,
It's punched down the ground by Kluter, just evading the extra cover fielder, Marcus Ackerman. Just to come back to what we're saying, the Dolphins in their top 6 batsmen have 4 bowling options, being Smuts, De Swart, Smith, and Peter Quayo. I think I've seen Ackerman bowl as well, Ditole
yes.
being the keeper. So 5 of the 6 being options with the ball.
And I think when you have a shortened game, that does help. So if your 2 main bowlers go, you have some options to choose from, because sometimes you just want to get an over from somewhere. A little reverse paddle there. Was that a small appeal for caught behind?
Maybe a bit of a half shout as we see Roo getting the broom out.
Trying to sweep away. I think that's the options the captain has for the Dolphins, because everybody can pretty much bowl. So you always want to get 1 over from someone. When you're playing 22, 20 overs, just 1 over that you want to sneak in there from your part timer, and it's got a lot of a nice range to pick from. I wouldn't say a good range, but a nice range, to pick from as to who can and can't really hold the ball.
That's single, of course, bringing Kluter back on strike.
Oi.
On the reverse,
I think they've spoken about some cleaning out. There's a lot of sweeping happening. I think with middle of back, you just want to punch it down the ground and take a single, or just old school.
Kluter once again on strike. Down the
In
ground.
the air.
2 fielders converging.
Oh. That was punched in the air, middle of running in, and a man from the circle running out, and I don't think there was any communications in there.
That could have turned out nasty.
Really nasty.
Captain Subrian wouldn't be happy with that one finding some ground between the 2 fielders. Nevertheless, Kluter can continue out in the middle. Once again in the air towards long off as the parachute comes out and the ball drops shortly. Short of the man.
They always say if you miss the field, that's a great shot. As long as you don't get caught, and some great placement, great timing.
That brings an end to the 7th over. The score now 49 for 1 after 7 overs. And coming back to the bowling options, Ackerman in his 51 List A matches has 12 wickets, bowling some right arm off breaks. So another bowling option, of course.
Right arm friendlies, I call them. Right arm friendlies. As we get our 7th over going, yeah. Smart is back. I think the Dolphins just need to tighten up a bit. A lot of easy singles, the balls dropping in no man's land. They just need to bring it back a bit, yeah.
Got away on the offside. A lot of work to do for the man out on the fence. Comes around. Excellent work out on the fence by, it looks to be Similani, situated at the sweeper fence.
Now, with the Knights having this great start that they've had, is the batting lineup flexible? Is there someone maybe that they can bring up the order, maybe a pinch hitter, get a quick 20, Because I think they've got a great opportunity to post a good score, or do you think they're just gonna go down the batting lineup?
That's whipped down the ground by Root towards long on, where Ackerman does the tidying up. Now, obviously, they have a long batting lineup. Van Biljon, of course, having played for the Proteas in the shortest format of the game. As you see, Smuts coming around the wicket. And no run off that one. Because Patrick Kruger, having batted up the order for the Knights as well. Good strike of a cricket ball. Swanepoel, an inventive batter. And Patrick Botha, of course, in a rich vein of form this season. As Kluter comes down the track.
I think it's safe to say Kluter's eye is set. He might look to take it on. Yeah, this is dangerous times for the Dolphins. The Knights are really stepping on the pedal. Yeah.
Now off measures shown by Kluter, as that one is really smashed out towards the deep and wicket boundary for a single. Maybe might have looked to get a bit more elevation on that one. As Nathan Rue comes back on strike now. Mid on up in the ring. As Smuts continues around the wicket.
I think now what the Dolphins need to do, I think they need to bring on their main bowler. I've always believed that we must set the initiative. They need to bring on one of their seamers. I think the batsmen look to be very comfortable when it comes to the two spinners at the moment. They seem very comfortable. So I think I would bring on a seamer just to see if I can't break this partnership, because it's looking really, really ominous now.
Of course, the score now 56 for 1 after 8 overs, as Sue Bryan looks to continue from the Old Fort end. Saying that there has been a few opportunities, half chances if you may, balls flying in the air. Had they maybe gone to end, it might paint a different picture, as we see Sue Bryan to continue around the wicket to the left-handed Kluter. Up and over, mid on.
All the way.
And that's gone all the way. 6 more at it.
As I would say back in my homeland, boom shakalaka. That is over the fence and gone. And like it hit the advertising board, it'll still be going today. So Knights are really set. And I think we need to put on our helmets here. Soon one will be coming our way.
Luckily, Kluter getting away from us at this stage. As we see Sue Bryan continue. Cut away into the offside for a single. And single once again bringing changes in the field. As the right-handed Rue is on strike now. The partnership now 34. Kluter sitting nicely at 37, not out at this stage, whilst Rue sitting on 9. The batsman to depart, of course, being Jacques Snyman for a brisk 15. Driven into the offside, and the misfield sees an easy single being turned into 3, it seems, as the Knights batsmen scamper through for a third.
I mean, for me, I don't think Dolphins are on the park yet. They're still waiting for the covers to come off. Very sloppy on the field. A lot of misfielding. I mean, if you look at the body language, there's not much energy going through the side at the moment. I know sometimes late starts can affect the guys' preparations for games, but there's a lot of misfielding from the Dolphins, which is unusual. They're known to be a very good fielding outfit. Today has been different. Maybe Durban is too cold for a change.
Once again, cut away out towards the offside fence. Brings the right-handed Rue back on strike. 2 more to come in the 9th over. Score now 67 for 1. So Brian will be coming over the wickets.
I think with 2 balls to go, right now it's the fielding team that needs to close off well. I think the batting team, nothing out the ordinary.
Balled into the wicket. off the back foot into the offside for a scampered single.
Been a very big over here for the Knights. And with one ball to go, as a batting team, you don't want to lose a wicket. And as the bowling side, you want to go for a boundary. So it's about closing shop well for the captain.
So Brian coming around the wickets to the left-handed Kluter, and he'll like to get out of this over. It's going up in the air, keeper coming around and takes the easiest of catches. That sees the end of the left-handed Kluter for well compiled 38. It was bright and breezy and fun while it lasted.
No, it's what we were saying before the ball was bowled. When you've had a big over as the bowling side, you want to go for a boundary, and as the batting team, you don't want to lose your wicket. I mean, the Knights had a very successful over, and in that over, you know, they went for a few boundaries. I mean, it's a great knock by Klutz. I mean, 38 runs of 29 balls. Like we said, bright and breezy.
The wicket of Kluter, of course, bringing to the middle the exciting Reinhard van Tonder, of course, previously being the SR19 captain. Van Tonder back into the side today after setting out at the Wanderers on Friday, and he'd look to get stuck in, albeit a shortened game.
Yeah, I think sometimes the short game just gives you one mindset, you know, see ball, hit ball, you know, then sometimes overthinking, you know, I've got a lot of overs to play here. Right now, we've got about 11 overs to go. I think he'll use one over to get his eye in and get going. And the exuberance of youth, they fear nothing and hit everything.
Cut away into the offside. A lot of work to do. Ackerman does well to keep it down to 1. Of course, the law changes, seeing to it that Van Tonder being off strike for the first ball of this over, with the new law stating that the new batsman should be on strike, and of course with it being the end of the over, for the start of this over, Van Tonder was off strike. Not the case anymore, as Roo has taken a single. Van Tonder now on strike. With John Smuts coming around the wicket to Van Tonder. On the money first up.
I think this is exactly what the Dolphins wanted, you know, to get a wicket, come back in the game, you know, string in a few dot balls here, create some pressure, you know, bring the run rate back down again, because the Knights were getting away with it.
Driven out in front of points, and a lot of work to do for Smith out on the fence. Could not prevent a second as Van Tonder comes back.
These two guys run pretty well between the wickets, you know. For most, it would have been a single. But it's two fast batters who I think are going to put the Dolphin fielders under pressure. You know, and we've seen the Dolphins the first 9 open.
A local as well. Zang, what have you made of the start?
Yeah, thank you so much, and I think it's been a really good start by the Knights. 7.2 runs and over. I think they took on the power play well. I think the way that Kluter went about his business, taking the attack to the Dolphins bowlers, has set them up here. I think if they can rotate, strike well in the middle here, keep wickets in hand, a big finish could see them get to that score of 160, which I think would be competitive.
Another fumble in the field sees Van Tonder get off strike. The Dolphins hasn't been all that on the money thus far in the field. A lot of fumbles and misfields thus far. Maybe the long wait for the game playing its part, as we see Peter Kwayo coming in once again. Nicely steered down towards third man by Roo.
Yeah, I think with all the rain we've had around, we had a massive storm Friday night, bit of rain last night, and obviously this morning the outfield is a little bit slow. I think Dolphins fielders just look a little bit just too quick on the ball. I think stay down a little bit longer, allow the ball into the hands, and then release that throw would help.
punched off the back foot towards the long on region by Van Tonder. This, of course, being a vital part of any innings, the middle overs, as they are called.
I think the Dolphins will do well here to keep Roo on strike as much as possible. I think if they can bowl as many dot balls as possible to him, bring that run rate down, build pressure, and hopefully strike again.
Flat batted out towards long on, and a good catch is taken out in the deep. It looks to be Rwanda Swart situated out there at long on. And a good catch sees the end of Roo. As you said, it's a bit of pressure maybe building. And Roo departing.
Yeah, brilliant catch by Rwanda Swart running forward on that long on boundary. It looked like a little bit of a dive forward to take the catch. I think Roo taking on the long boundary there. Just holding out to the Swart. Dolphins have done well here to strike again, 75 for 3. Nothing like a wicket to slow down the run rate. 2 new batters at the crease now, so crucial time here for the Knights to put together a little bit of a partnership and hopefully set the team up for a good finish.
Roo departing for a bright and breezy 15 off 16 balls. And as we have come accustomed to see, Petukwa coming into the attack and immediately striking for his side. That ball off the toe end of the bat for Roo. But the wicket of Roo sees the evergreen and experienced Piet van Biljon stride to the crease. 116th match this is for Van Biljon. And the ITEC Knights would ideally love for him to play a good hand here for his side.
Yeah, I think a good time to have a bit of experience come in. Batting with Van Tonder, I think if Van Biljon gets going, I think he's best placed with his experience to set the team up for a big finish. I think the Dolphins would want to be looking to attack and strike early. I think if they get one of the most experienced players in the country out here now, I think they're well on their way to limiting the Knights to a lower total than that 160, which I think could be competitive.
Once again, 2 wickets in quick succession falling for the Knights. It has been the tale of their season thus far. Partnership building and then quick wickets in succession, as we see Petukwa continue to Van Biljon, who cuts that out in towards the cover region for a single to get himself off and running.
Yeah, a lovely little shot there to get off the mark. Just beating the cover fielder. I hit towards that deep cover out on the boundary. That's a shorter boundary that he's hit the ball towards. I think Andile Simelane for the Dolphins has been brilliant there so far. Good way to get off the mark for Van Biljon.
Once again, cut out towards Simelane, who has a lot of work to do, but does well to cut off the angle and keep that down to 1. That single, of course, sees the end of the 11th over. The Knights now sitting at 77 for 3 after 11. And at this stage, Zane, which camp would you rather be?
I think, and I hope I'm not being biased here, but I think Dolphins camp. I think always good with that little bit of weather around to be batting second here. Have a good idea of the targets you need to meet when making that chase, and I think also having taken those 3 wickets in the first 11 overs, having 2 fresh batters at the crease, I think Dolphins camp right now.
As Smuts continues around the wicket. It's Van Tonder playing forward.
Smuts has been brilliant for the Dolphins this whole tournament so far. And again, he's played a good holding role here with the ball.
An interesting contest looming here between Van Biljon and Smuts as he continues around the wicket. Pushes Van Biljon onto the back foot.
Smuts is really rotating his pace well. A little bit quicker, a little bit slower, but he's been really accurate, hitting the stumps every ball, forcing the batter to try and score off the stumps. See that one just being a little bit quicker.
Matt's halfway through his fourth now. Excellent bowling thus far. 3 out of 3. A nice game going on between Smuts, Fambuljon and Subrian. Worked onto the onside for a single. One more to come in the 12th over. As Van Tonder comes back on strike. To face up to John Smuts, who will be coming left arm around.
It's a brilliant over by John Smuts. I think the key in the spell so far for him has been his accuracy. He's been hitting the stumps all the time, rotating his pace really well. I think with Pranel and Subrian fielding close in at that extra cover position, he's made it really hard for the batter to get that single down to long on and long off. Brilliant over, just going for 2 runs there from John. Brilliant spell so far.
Of course, a reduced game, seeing a 22-over match being played. 2 bowlers being allowed to bowl 5, with 3 bowlers being allowed to bowl 4. I'd imagine Smuts might be one of the 2 to bowl his 5, as we see Petluquire once again in from the old Fort end, and he starts with a wide down the leg side. Maybe something in the air from that side, as all 3 wides have come from that side, all 3 of them being angled down the leg side. As Petluquire will look to reload this one. Petluquire once more in towards Fambuljon.
Yeah, it's a good comeback from Andile, hard length. Fambuljon just looking to drop that into a pocket, but Ackerman at point doing some good work and getting on that ball quickly, prevent the single.
It's been a good passage of play here by the Dolphins. They've managed to keep things relatively quiet. As Petluquire continues over the wicket. Driven. No run. As the Pavilion does the tidying up in the covers. A lot of dot balls being bowled. The Knights not quite getting off strike here. Not quite rotating it.
Yeah, I think that's key for the Dolphins in this period. The more dot balls they can bowl, the more pressure they'll put on the Knights. Such a crucial passage of play here with the 2 new batters in, and every dot ball is like gold in this phase of the game. Really good shot out there, pull shot out to the deep square leg boundary. Jason Smith doing some good work. Just 1 run off that pull shot to the long boundary.
Van Tonder now back on strike to face the Proteas all-rounder. Halfway through the over, continues over the wickets.
A really good change up there. Bit of a leg cutter from Andile Petluquire, doing the fielding off his own bowling as well. It's another dot ball for the Dolphins. And with each dot ball, I think the pressure mounting on the Knights batters.
No mid wicket in place at this stage. Deep square leg and a deep mid wicket out on the fence, long on. As Petluquire continues outside off and cut away. Good fielding by Ackerman. Van Tonder might feel he missed out on that one. I do, however, feel if he had left that one, it might have been a wide ball. Maybe the pressure telling a bit on the ITEC Knights batsman.
One thing I think we can be sure of is Andile Pechlekwayo is going to use the variations that he has. He's definitely going to keep the Knights batsman thinking, and he's going to use his strengths with. Oh, that's a brilliant shot. A little bit of a guide down behind point. That ball's gone down for 4, a much needed boundary for the Knights, and a really good finish to the over.
Yeah, an excellent cricket shot by Reinhard van Tonder. One of the more traditional batsmen you'll see around the circuit in South Africa. The score now, of course, 85 for 3 after 13 overs. The Knights having won the toss and electing to bat first in a reduced match here in Durban. And it will be John Smuts who will be bowling out his 5th over of the afternoon. He will be going left arm around the wicket to the right-handed Famboyon. As we see mid-on being brought up into the circle. Deep square leg, deep wicket, long off, and sweep out on the cover region. As Smuts is in towards Famboyon.
No surprise that John Smuts has been given the 5th over. He's been the pick of the Dolphins bowlers in this competition. He's taken wickets and he's bowled at a really good economy. I think the Knights are going to look to rotate strike as best as they can here, work him around, see off the spell, and maybe look to attack the bowlers that follow Smuts.
It's good to see 2 singles off the first 2 balls here from the ITEC Knights. I'd imagine they'd like to continue in that vein, get through this John Smuts spell. An impressive spell by John Smuts thus far. Short, and as I said it, being dispatched onto the advertising, maybe putting the markers on him a bit, singing his praises. Famboyon not missing out on a gentle off-tracker from Smuts. And a dearly needed boundary for the ITEC Knights at this stage.
I think John Smuts there, premeditating the batter, would come down the wicket, dropping that one slightly short. Knights batter latching onto that, getting that into the west stand for 6.
And a bit of gamesmanship from Smuts. Just holding on to it a bit, reloading. As he goes once more towards Famboyon. Full and straight. Famboyon punches that one down the ground towards long off, where the Swart does the tidying up. 2 more to come in this John Smuts spell. Antonio works that one into the onside, looking for 2. Some excellent running by the ITEC Knights batters. Sees Van Tonder get home.
This has been a brilliant over for the Knights. That 2 to the short boundary, I think, has been good indication of the energy that these 2 batters are batting with. Just off the back foot, getting deep in the crease, working that into the short square leg area. Andile Semilani coming off the boundary, doing some decent work in terms of getting to the ball, but I don't think that throw a little bit wide of the stumps has helped him there, but excellent running from the 2 Knights batters.
As he Smuts to end off his afternoon with the ball. Punched down the ground by Van Tonder. A diving Smuts not being able to cut that one off. That sees the end of the 14th over. The ITEC Knights now sitting at 97 for 3 after 14. The partnership now 22 between Van Tonder and Famboyon. And they've gone about it rather nicely, being tied down at the start of it. Just looking to break loose a bit at this stage.
Yeah, brilliant last over there of Smuts' spell. I think the Knights batters looking at put him under pressure in his last over. I would have thought they'd just look to work him around, but they've showed real good energy, real good attack. And I think they've put a bit of pressure on him, and they've taken that rate from 6.5 to 6.9 runs and over.
As we see Petliquao to continue from the Old Ford end. He's coming in for his third over. He's bowled rather economically, 2 overs, 1 for 11. He comes to Van Tonder. Worked into the onside. They look to scamper for 2. Van Biljon wisely advising Van Tonder stay at the non-striker's end.
A really good drop shot into the pocket there. Dolphins fielders working really hard on that. We see the cow corner and the deep square leg running in on that ball, and then Petliquao looking to do that fielding with his own bowling as well, as prevented the 2. But a lovely little shot into the pocket. The Titans batters looking to run hard for every run they get on a slow outfield.
Petliquao to continue to Van Biljon. Hit out towards deep mid wicket. Fielder comes around. Takes an excellent catch. Looks to be Marcus Ackerman situated out on the mid wicket fence.
I think Brad Portier is taking the catch there on the cow corner boundary. Another cutter from Andile Petliquao, really using his pace well. Big shot, slightly mistimed. A really good catch by Portius out there on the cow boundary. Had to make some room, to make some ground, running towards square leg, but a comfortable catch in the end.
Van Biljon departs for 11. He's 11 coming off 12 deliveries. It really has been a struggle throughout the middle period here for the Knights. Departure of Van Biljon. Seeing the first of the Pats coming out towards the middle. It is Patrick Kruger who will be coming out to have a bat at number 6 for the ITEC Knights. Kruger has been in good form this campaign thus far. One of the few ITEC Knights batters who have looked accomplished at the wicket.
I think Kruger will do well here to get Van Tonder on strike as much as he can. Van Tonder going well. Set better at this stage. I think he knows he's going to be facing quite a few cutters from Petliquao. I don't think it's going to be easy, but I think getting Van Tonder on strike here as much as he can, while allowing himself to get in, will be a good move.
As we see deep mid wicket being brought into the ring. Petliquao coming over the wicket to the right-handed Kruger. Work towards that mid-wicket fielder. Shy at the non-striker's end. Might have had Kruger in trouble had he hit.
Brad Porteous just on the ring there at mid-wicket. Kruger working that ball into the mid-wicket region. Porteous quick on the ball and a shy at the stumps. Excellent backing up there from Dupavlon. But Kruger off the mark.
Petliquao in once more towards Van Tonder. Nicely guarded, but a poor piece of fielding. Sees that ball reach the fence. 4 more added to the ITEC Knights score.
Another change up from Petliquao. But lovely little dab down to the third man region. Bit of a misfield from Bartman. That ball's gone down to the third man region for 4. 100 up for the Knights. Good time as well, 7 runs per over.
Van Tonder cuts that one out towards the offside fence. Petliquao not seeming to be happy with his point fielder. Maybe not being positioned correctly according to him. And the left single at it, bringing Patrick Kruger back on strike for the last ball of this, the 15th over of the innings.
Another misfield by the Dolphins, this time the keeper Ditole. Peshlequayo not happy at all. A buy through, or no buy.
Buy is not being signaled by the umpire.
I think he's got a bit of bat on that.
Maybe he got a bit of bat on that. Perhaps the dissatisfaction of Petliquayo, maybe throwing the umpire off, forgetting to signal buys, perhaps. Perhaps a bottom edge on that one. Through to the keeper. Understandably, Petliquayo not all that happy. As we see a change of bowling from the commentary box end, of course being the Umgeni end. It will be Darren de Pavilon to come in for his third over of the afternoon. And he's bowled briskly this afternoon, as he always does. He's in towards Patrick Kruger.
De Pavilon's had a really good start to this game. 2 overs for 10 runs. Back in for his third over, but it looks like a no ball. First ball up. And that's a free hit with Fantonda on strike.
That single, of course, meaning that the field is allowed to change for the free hit. Fantonda would be licking his lips at this one.
Three men back on the leg side boundary. That's hit out towards the leg side. And that's cleared the cow fielder. That's 6 runs off the free hit. Excellent pickup shot.
Bowled into the wicket by De Pavilon. Fantonda shuffles across ever so slightly and picks that one up onto the embankments. Clears the field with ease. 6 runs added to the total. Fantonda now off to a decent start in his innings. He's sitting on 27 not out at this stage. As we see De Pavilon to continue from the Umgeni end. Full and on the legs as Fantonda pushes that one into the leg side. They come back for a second. Maybe a bit of untidiness from the Dolphins the last couple of balls.
Pavilon going for the Yorker there. I think he's executed quite well. Fantonda's played that really well though. He's into the pocket in that mid-wicket region. Andile Peshlequayo coming off the cover boundary but couldn't prevent the 2.
Pavilon once more in towards Fantonda. Straight and nicely driven down the ground, showing the maker's name by Fantonda. Ackerman doing the tidying up and reels it in towards the keeper.
I think the Knights have been excellent all innings so far in the way that they've run between the wickets. Really showing good intent to run hard. I think with all the rain we've had around, the players would know the outfield would be slow. And I think they're taking good initiative with the running, putting the Dolphins under the pump.
Kruger goes hard at that one. Outside half of the bat, sees it fly over the short third man fielder. They come back for a second. Kruger, of course, a prolific shortest format player of the game for the Knights. Hard hitter of a cricket ball is Patrick Kruger, seasoned campaigner.
The Pavilon bowling with the mid-off up. He's got long on down, cow corner and deep square leg. I think he's looking to bowl stumps here and really full. Hit back by Kruger. Struck to Pavilon on the foot. I hope he's okay. Seems to be walking fine. But the Knights batters are scampered through for a single.
Some accidental football skills there from De Pavilon on show. The Cricket players always love a bit of footy. Hey, Zane. Maybe getting a bit out of hand this time.
Yeah, I
As
think
that was firmly struck down the ground by Kruger.
they had enough footy in the warm-up, but sometimes those soccer skills come in handy when you need them in the game.
Nicely negotiated by Van Tonder. Sees him get off strike, or retain the strike rather, as we see the end of the 16th over. The ITEC Knights now 120 for 4 after 16. 36 balls to go in this, the first innings of the match. Put your coaching cap on here, Zane. What are you looking at from an ITEC Knights point of view at this stage, firstly? And then put your Dolphins cap on, which I know you have there somewhere in your backpack. And tell me, what do you ideally look at from the Dolphins point of view from this position?
Yeah, I think the Knights are in a pretty good position here. Good rate. I think with 6 overs to go with wickets in hand, I think they're going to look to come at the Dolphins bowlers right now. I think 160 would be the minimum score that they'd be looking at. But with the way that they're going, I think there's a strong possibility they're going to get to 175, 180, and I think that's going to be tough chase for the Dolphins.
As we see Petluquayo to bowl his 4th over from the Old Fort end. Pantondo on strike. Once again, pace off the ball, and a dive in vain from Hartman. Sees a bit of delicacy from Van Tonder, add 4 more to the total. In the position the ITEC Knights are in now, coming back to your point, with 35 balls now left in the innings, going back to when it was 36 balls. If you add 40 more to get 160, I think the ITEC Knights should be disappointed, going at 6.5 and over then. Ideally, at the end of the last 6 overs or so, you'd like to go at near the 10s to the over. So I'd ideally think the Knights would be looking at somewhere around that 180 run mark, with Patrick Kruger and Swanepoel to come, especially as Petluquayo comes in once more. Van Tonder punches that one towards the cover boundary for another single, bringing the exciting Patrick Kruger on strike.
Yeah, spot on. I think if the Knights continue to go the way that they are, they'd definitely be looking at 180.
From a Dolphins point of view, Zane, what would you be happy with chasing at this stage? Probably that 160 mark you alluded to earlier.
Petluquayo into Kruger. He's just worked that down to the long on boundary for 1. Really good fielding there by the Swat, quick off the boundary, good energy to the ball, and a quick release to Petluquayo. I think to answer your question, 180 is going to be a tough chase, but I think the Dolphins will be happy if they could keep the Knights to around 165. It's a wide ball down the leg side by Petluquayo, another change up, another cutter, and another leg side wide. I think the discipline from the Dolphins in the field has let them down here. But again, if they could keep the Knights to somewhere around that 165 mark, I think they'd be happy with everything that's happened so far.
The Dolphins have bowled, haven't bowled a lot of extras thus far. As you see Petluquayo coming in, whipped in towards the mid-wicket region. Some quick feet from Porteous on the fence. Seeing that one kept down to the single run, bringing Patrick Kruger on strike.
Porteous has been pretty good in the field today, working really hard on that cover boundary, making good ground every time the Knights batters try to push him for 2. Coming off that boundary really quickly, quick release on the throw, and preventing that second. He's been excellent.
Petluquayo once more. And he cleans up Kruger. Bit of a celebration. Sees a bit of a stare from Kruger. A bit of perplexion being showed by Kruger as to how that one got through his defenses. Nevertheless, Kruger has to depart for 7. It seemed to be a straight ball he missed. Not a lot happening. I just think he missed it.
Yeah, I think Peshlequayo's been changing his length. He's been bowling quite a few change-ups, but not many balls hitting the stumps. I feel the Knights batters have been able to work him into that leg side, work him into that cover sweeper boundary. Fantonda's been really good at working that ball, running it down to third man. I think that ball hitting the stumps, forcing the batter to play a shot and score off a ball that's hitting the stumps. I think that was the key.
Follow the wicket, bringing Patrick Botha to the middle. Botha, of course, being in a bit of a purple patch this campaign so far. Petuquayo to continue around the wicket to Botha.
Adile Peshlequayo pulled a good spell here so far today. I think crucially picking up those 3 wickets. Every time the Knights batters look to be going, you have a Peshlequayo wicket. I think he's been brilliant for the Dolphins in that regard. 5 overs left to go. Knights batters definitely moving towards that 180 mark. I think that could be a winning score. A winning score here today. They'll definitely have to bowl well, but I think they're going to be moving towards that 180 mark.
Old Neil Bartman now back into the attack. And he's been impressive this campaign so far. Today, not quite hitting his straps so far. 2.1 overs, 0 for 18. As we see Reinhard van Tonder back on strike. Van Tonder, of course, into the side again today in place of Van Heerden, having sit it out, carrying a bit of drinks at the Wanderers. And he's made his mark on this game so far. As he guides that one out towards the short third man region. Get off strike.
Fantonda's been excellent in the way that he's hit the ball into spaces and rotated strike. He's hit the boundary as well, but he's rotated strike really well. I think Bartman coming on at a good time where he can bowl to a new batter. And I think Fantonda holds a key here for the Knights. If he's able to get through at the majority of the last 5 overs, I think the Knights could get to that score of 180.
Patrick Botha, of course, also being pivotal in this part of the innings for the Knights today, along with Aubrey Swanepoel is listed to come in next. The 3 of them, Botha, Swanepoel and Van Tonder, would ideally like to see out the next 4.5 overs for the ITEC Knights to maximize the bowling As Van Tonder's back on strike, pulled way into the stands, onto the roof, and into the road. Nicely picked up by Van Tonder. That sees his score move into the 40s.
Few balls, please.
And perhaps a change of balls sees a change in commentary.
As the players look for the ball, we welcome back into commentary Quinton Lunica. Quinton, what do you think of the Knights inning so far? And what do you think is a good target after that 22 overs?
I think I'm just in time for a party. I think it's about to go off. I mean, great knock by Fantonda here for a young lad. He has shown some serious maturity. He's set up his innings very, very well. And I think the Knights are in a great position to post a big score. Oh, trouble here. Run out surely. Gone. Oh. What happened there? Thought he was gone for all money. The Knights have set themselves up pretty well. I'm thinking if they can get 180 from here, should be a great finish to the game. And then when the game starts, it was a great setup by Klutzi and Sneeman. They've set it up very well for their team. Initially, the first 4 overs were very difficult to bat, and now the platform has been laid. And I think the Knights will be highly upset if they don't finish well. Great shot, backward point, some serious fielding coming in. They've taken 2 there. So I think Zayn, if the Knights can get 175, I think they'll be happy with that.
Yeah, I think 175 would be a good competitive score. I definitely think 4 overs to go. They're going to be looking to get to that 180 mark. That's 10 runs and over, which I think is achievable. They've been excellent in the way that they've run between the wickets. Pantonda's been brilliant in the way that he's hit spaces, and I think if he bats through the next 3 or 4 overs, the Knights will achieve that target of 180. Pranell and Subrian into the tack for what is likely to be a 1 over, and if he bowls another one, he's probably going to come through again closer to the end, bowling that 21st or that 22nd over.
Nice little tickle to the leg side for a single. I think with 4 overs left, this is when the captain will look at his bowling team and see where is he going to get the last 3 overs from. And sometimes you'd want guys to pick up their hand and say, throw the ball to me, skipper. Because right now I think one guy that's accustomed to bowling at the dead is Andile. I think Andile's got 1 over left. 4 overs, Knights are looking to at least score about 40 runs in those 4 overs.
Yeah, I think the breakdown of those overs will be key. Peshluquayo most likely gonna bowl that 5th over. Having been the pick of the bowlers, he's struck regularly. Really good Yorker as Peshluquayo. I think he's got very good change-ups at the end to deceive the batters when they're looking to go hard at the ball.
And it's been an excellent and fantastic knock by Fantonda. 50 of 48 balls. He came at a really difficult time for the Knights, and he's really anchored the innings to a great position for him to launch. Great batting. This knock will stand him in good stead to finish the season strong.
Yeah, this knock's gonna do him the world of good. I think it's been a brilliant knock in the way that he's conducted himself. So often he's hit the boundary and then hit the ball into space and got the one and stood on the non-striker's end. I think he's been brilliant with that today. Getting back to how Sir Brian might use the bowlers, I think Andile is going to have another over. You've got Dupavlon, who's got one more. You've got Bartman, who's got one more. Of course, we've seen Semelani, who's a bowling all-rounder, who hasn't had a bowl today. And then you've got Porteous, who could give you an over as well. But for me, I think after the Sir Brian over, we're going with Peshla with one. Then I think we're going with Bartman and Dupavlon to finish.
I think once the call has been made by the skipper who is going with, I think as in as the batting team, you'll look to pick one bowler to really go hard after. We've seen some fantastic strokes by Van Tonda, couple of balls sailing over the stands. So I think they will pick one batter that they'll go after. And I think out of the three guys you've mentioned right now, the one guy that really hasn't been on top of his game is Batman. So I think they might look to target him. And I think it's about getting your angles on the field, which boundaries are shorter. So it might not even be which batter do we attack, which end do we attack. If you look at the boundary ropes, so you look at which end do you attack. Maybe they'll attack the Friendship Pavilion end, in terms of your car corner.
Yeah, I think they've got to go at that short boundary. With Fantonda in, that's heading towards the leg side for him. We saw him pick up Bartman and hit him for 6 over that leg side. I think when he faced Andile Peshla, when he bowled from the old port end, he really hit that third man boundary, which is that shorter of the third man boundary. Hit it really well. Andile Peshla bowling to Fantonda now.
Yeah.
Hitting towards the leg side, short boundary.
Yeah.
Peshla has to go full here. He's setting an offside field here. He's got a long on, he's got a cow, but he's bowling with a deep point and a deep cover as well. I think he's got to go wide Yorker.
I think that's the control Andile has, yeah. That's why he's such a good dead bowler. With first ball that he's bowled there, little slow up ball now, just inside the wide line guide. He's got such great control. And I think that's what saw him get into the national team. It's the control that he has. In the end, where most bowlers bottle it, and Andile he's got the skill, he's got the craft. And I think right now this over is a key over for the duration of the game. And that's a wide there for Andile. And you can see how the field is set. I don't think nothing's going to be bowled on stump. Everything's going to be just on that wide line, just inside. And it's just a matter of the batsman then seeing what he can do from there.
Yeah. See Fantonda batting outside the off stump now. He knows Andile's got to go wider.
I think the Dolphins, their fielding has really, really, really let them down today. And they are known for a very good fielding outfit. And today they've been really, really sloppy. I've tried to, make some excuses for them earlier on. But today has been a off day. You would think now, with just 2.5 overs left, everything goes. I mean, we've got the Knights have got 5 wickets in hand, 158 on the board. I think everybody that's currently waiting to come on, and the 2 batters have got the license to swing from the hip. That's a big heave down to middle midfield there. They're back for two. Mr. Picklefire does not look very happy there.
The Knights batters have been brilliant in the way that they've run between the wickets, hitting the ball towards a long boundary, looking to run twos every time the ball goes out there. Porteous with a little bit of a misfield there, but he's been brilliant in the field today.
Oh,
And that's a wicket to Pechlekwayo. Really good change-up. Really good change-up for Mandile. He's been excellent with his change-ups in his spell today. Both looking to hit that ball over the top straight. And a really good catch diving forward from Ditole. Pechlekwayo finishes a really good spell with 4 wickets. And I think the pick of the Dolphins bowlers today.
great control by Andile. Really varied his length, played around with his pace, bought a lot of cutters, and I think his stats speak for themselves. With 2 overs to go, Knight sitting at 160 for 6, 12 balls. I think the match is set up brilliantly. I think at the end of these 2 overs, we'll see which camp we would rather be in. Is it the Dolphins camp or the Knights camp? 160 on the board with 2 overs to go. I think the Knights will be really disappointed if you don't get to 175, even 180. They've really given themselves a great opportunity to put on a really imposing total under the lights later on. You know, clouds hovering around. We might get some swing with the new ball. So I think the next 12 balls are going to be big, especially for Dolphins.
Yeah, the Knights have done well to get to 160. I think at the beginning of this innings, we thought that 160 would be a competitive score. They've got there with 2 overs to go. Let's see if they can get to that 180 mark.
That's great fielding by the Dolphins fielder. They're really attacking the ball hard. Good energy to the ball and keeping the batsman run down to a single. Looking at our field setting for today, it kind of gives you an idea of what kind of bowling you'll receive. As a batsman, you can kind of set yourself up. I don't think you'll get any room to slash outside off stump. Everything will be a heavy length on middle and leg. Just like that. You've got your campers on the boundary. Right at this moment in time, Dolphins will take the singles. I think the Knights are looking at boundaries here. Zane?
Yeah, I think from this field setting, Quinton with Dupavlon having 4 sweepers out on the leg side, he's got long on, a deep mid wicket, a deep square leg, and a fine leg. I think we can assume that the ball is going to be straight. I think he's going to rotate between that length and the Yorker. I think he hits his Yorkers really well. He is bowling with the batters hitting leg side towards a long boundary. They're really going to be looking to run twos. But the Dolphins have put Similani and Porteous at that deep square leg and cow corner boundaries, and those two are absolute specimens, really quick to get to the ball, really good arms. And so I think Dupavlon bowling really well to his field here. If he can go at 6-7 runs and over, I think he's done a really good job here.
I think with 3 balls left in the over, the Knights will be looking for a boundary just to finish this over strong, take it into the last over of the innings. But right now, it's been great control by the Pavilion. Great control. And once again, a single. So it has been 4 singles. And I think then you'd like to close it off now. You don't want to go for a boundary in the last 2 balls. You've bowled well. And you just want to have the control now to finish it off. Make sure you stick to the plans that you have. Nothing full outside off stump. Hitting that heavy length on middle and leg stump. You've got your guys scouting the boundary. So anything in the air, unless it's well struck, should be caught. But right now, some of the plan's going to pass. Oh, it's great bowling. It has been a fantastic over. You know, second to last over the game can be quite tense, but I think it has been a very, very good over. And it's a matter of how does he close it off. I think the batsman, with 4 wickets in hand, I think he's got a license to swing with this ball. Really look for a boundary. Maybe move around the crease, open up the offside, and try and slash it over the top.
I think Fantonda's been really good in the way that he's hit the ball through the offside to that cover sweeper, the way that he's good man. Pavlon bowling a nice straight line, not giving him the room, forcing him to work that ball into the leg side. There again to finish that over, just another single, flick off the hips into that vacant mid-wicket area, but Porteous coming off the boundary, doing a really good job to keep that for one. Knights now at 165 with 1 over to go. I think the plan here is to get as many as they can in this last over. If the Dolphins can keep them around that 170 mark, I think they would have done really well with all things considered. The Knights, I think, will be disappointed to not get closer to that 175, 180 mark.
Yeah,
The way that they were positioned a couple of overs ago.
Yeah, I think the Dolphins are really done well to bring it back. There was a time in the game where the game is going to get away from the Dolphins. But the Dolphins in the last 5 overs, they've done really well, led by Andile, to bring it back. Where now it looks like the Knights will do well to get 170. We'll see in the last over how it goes. We start off with a wide, not a good start. But Hartman.
Bartman bowling to the same field that we saw Peshakwayo bowl to in the last over. We've got 3 sweepers out on the offside. Limits them in where they can bowl, but I think if they're good in executing that skill, I think they're going to look to keep the Titans to 1 a ball, 6-7 runs in the over, and then finishing the innings strong.
That's a big, big, big hit. Big hit. It's heading our way. That's one. Big bang for the over. This is where Bartman really needs to keep his nerve and finish strong. I mean, the Dolphins have had 8 extras, 6 wides, so they really want to finish this last over strong. But now it's advantage Knights, I think. 172 on the board. It's a great total. It's a fantastic shot. Great fielding on the boundary. And you just feel if we didn't have so much rain, you would get value for your shots here that should have gone to the boundary, but because the outfield is a bit damp and heavy, they come back for 2.
Yeah, once again, I think Fantonda's been brilliant here. We just look at the way that he's setting himself, batting outside that off stump, setting really low. He knows the Dolphins bowlers are going to look to bowl that full length. Latched onto that low full toss. I think Bartman just missed the Yorker. Low full toss, really good hands through the ball, hitting that straight 6, and then the next ball, hitting that ball through the extra cover. We saw some excellent fielding from Simelane. Then Bartman's got to finish strong here. 3 balls left in the over, with the Knights already on 175. I think they're in a really good position to get that 180 mark, taking all the momentum with them into the break.
It's up in the air. Nice and easy catch. Bartman, bring it back, yeah. Bring it back, yeah. Timely wicket for the Dolphins. With 2 balls to go, just to make sure that the Knights get something under 180. Because you feel if the Knights were to get something over 180, it'll be a tough chase for the Dolphins. So that wicket kind of settles Batman, I feel.
Really good catch by Sir Brian on the ring there at mid-off. Those look easy, they look regulation, but we still got to catch them, and I think he's done a good job there.
He's got a lot of caps on his head there. That's the thing of being a captain. You gotta wear all caps. And right there, he's got about 3 caps, eh? And that's the beauty of being a skipper and leading your team. You know, the Dolphins have done very well to bring it back. Very, very well to bring it back. But I think right now, I know you were asked this question earlier on, Zane, which camp would you rather be on with 2 balls to go, 175 on the board, could be 180? Are you still sticking on the Dolphins camp?
Yeah, look, I think my heart is always going to be with the Dolphins, and I think they've got the batters to make this chase. Home ground advantage as well, and I think they know the conditions well. I think if they use the long boundary, short boundary really well, they can get to that total that the Knights are going to set. But the Knights have done really well here. The Knights have done extremely well here to get to the total they're currently on. And that's another wicket from Bartman, caught behind. Ochoa just looking to run that ball down to third man first ball. I think trying to get Fantonda on strike.
Very
nicking the ball, and good catch by Dutole behind the stumps. But I think the Knights are well placed here, Quinton.
No, they're really well placed. They've set it up well. I think they've stuck to their game plan. A lot is owed to Fantonda. Really marshaled the innings very, very well. He understood his strengths. He knew what he could and can't do, and also the conditions. He has played the conditions very, very well, and I think he's known what bowlers to go after. So I think the Knights will be quietly confident, But as they would say, you will never know how the pitch plays until both teams have batted on it. But you know, looking at the score, the conditions, you would say that the Knights are quietly confident. You know, we've got 1 ball left in the over. What you don't want from the Dolphins side is this ball traveling over the boundary. And what you'd really want from the Knights side is the ball traveling over the boundary. So the next ball is really, really key to the momentum going into the halftime break.
Yeah, 100%. 1 ball to go. Titans or the Knights, sorry, on 175. I think if they can finish off with the boundary here and get the Dolphins to chase 180, I think they'd be really happy with their performance. Fortunately, it doesn't look like Fantonda is going to face another ball in this game, unless we see an extra ball being bowled. But he's really done a good job, and I think he set the Knights up here in this game. I think, yeah, the Knights are a team at this moment in time. I think they've got nothing to lose really. They can come out and play freely, and I think they've done that, led by Fantonda in this innings.
I think that's what you're gonna need from the Dolphins batters. Who's gonna play a Fantonda innings for them when they're going to bat? You know, someone that's gonna be there. You know, see it through, put on a platform.
And that's a hat trick. That's a hat trick for Bartman to finish the innings. Didn't start the over well. Went for 10 runs in the first 3 balls, but deadly accurate here on the last ball, and hitting the stumps and taking his hat trick.
It's a great finish by the Dolphins. Great finish by Bartman. Yeah, a hat trick for himself. Really pulling it back. The Knights finishing the innings on 175 for 9 in the allotted overs of 22. Dolphins doing really well. Bartman, you know, getting a hat trick at the end. Didn't start the game off well, but it's finished well. You know, as they say, saying it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. And I think the Dolphins weren't happy with the start, but I think they'll be happy with the finish, because there was a time they were looking at 180, 185, and now it's 175. So I think the Dolphins have done pretty well here to limit the Knights to 175.
Yeah, 100% Quinton. I think the Dolphins won't be happy with the way that they fielded in this innings. But like you said, they really good finish, taking some good momentum into the break here. I think good performance by Bartman on the last three balls, taking those 3 wickets. I think that'll do him the world of good for his confidence. But yeah, I think the Dolphins will be happier chasing 175, 176 to win. That 180 just gives the Knights a little bit of a mental edge. But I think the Dolphins will be happy chasing that 176 and yeah, a little bit of a break now, and let's see how they come out.
Brilliant.
Welcome back to the Kingsmead Stadium here in Durban, where the Hollwoodbets Dolphins are in pursuit of a score of 100 and... What's the score they made? 174?
175.
175. As I'm joined by Quinton Lunica in comms. The Dolphins off to a flyer here, 45 for 1 after 4.5 overs. Quinton, what have you made of the start?
And before the Dolphins lost the wicket, I thought we'll be going home in the 15th over, where the Dolphins started. Some rather inconsistent bowling by the Knights. Nice start from the Dolphins. I think they can now build from this, get a partnership going. They've set it up nicely. They don't need to take chances. Get your twos and your ones, and then in the back end of the innings, really wrap it up. Really good start. I mean, the Knights though, the bowling up front wasn't quite pleasant. I'm just hoping with the loss of the wicket, they can really bring it back, like how we saw the Dolphins do when the Knights were batting. Dolphins were able to bring it back, slow things down again. So I'm just hoping that the Knights here could start to reel it back. Oh, great bowling there. Cutting back a little bit. It's been a really good over. A really good over here.
Patrick Kruger's been on the money so far since coming into the attack. 1 ball left in this, the 5th over of the innings, and it is also the last ball of the batting power play, or the first batting power play for the ITEC Knights, or for the Dolphins batting. And the Dolphins off to a flyer on the back of John Smuts. He's sitting on 32 not out, as Patrick Kruger is in towards Smuts, who defends that one into the offside, which brings an end to the 5th over. The Dolphins score now 46 for 1 after 5. And if you've just tuned in, the only wicket to have fallen being that of Marcus Ackerman, being dismissed for 7. But it really has been the John Smuts show so far for the Dolphins here at Kingsmead, with some rather indifferent bowling at times from the Knights. They'd be delighted to have picked up the wicket of Ackerman, really.
Yeah, John Smart can be Mr. Reliable at times, He's a disciplined cricketer. He knows what needs to be done and how to go about doing it. I mean, I'm really interested in watching Simelane bat. He's been pushed up the order. I think maybe the Dolphins have the weather in mind. Looks like the clubs are coming back in. Maybe he's there to speed up the run rates. I mean, that's why they've pushed him up. For a 19-year-old, he can hit the ball far.
It will be Matua to continue from the Old Fort end, as we see a bit of air traffic as skipper Aubrey Swanepoel waves about a few fielders. Of course, 4 fielders allowed outside the 30-yard circle at this stage, with only third man, sweeper, long on and deep square leg in place as Matua comes towards Simelane. And a player and miss outside the off stump. Bit of lateral movement from Matua.
I think if you've watched the Knights bowling so far, they really haven't pitched much up. So I think what they've decided as a team is to use the surface, that hard length, back of a length, let the ball use the wicket, as they would say. Really a hard length, they're not floating it up there, maybe search for swing, but they're really hitting it a hard length. And sometimes it's quite dangerous to hit that hard length, because sometimes you can be too short and get pulled a lot. But so far so good this over. Mocha has had some control so far.
As you see Matua coming in once more to Simelane. Cuts outside the off stump and a play and miss. Just a sense of nerves showing here from the young Simelane. The previous ball, it was obvious to see that the experienced John Smuts coming down the track to maybe have a word with young Simelane, just to calm the nerves.
I think it's going to be a fine line for him. I think he's been sent to do a job, but I think he needs to remember that he needs to get his eye in first before he looks to hit the ball out the park. Clipping the pad there. Little appeal from backward point. John Smart coming down again to have a chat with the young boy. Just to tell him, no, take your time, get your eye in. It'll happen. 'Cause I think right now he's kind of fetching, he's reaching out, and just let the ball come to him.
2 more to come in the 6th over of the innings. Matua this over unscathed. 4 dot balls now. On the money once more, and they scamper through for a single. Shy at non-striker's end. Similani makes it through to the other end, bringing the experienced John Smuts back on strike. And maybe a sense of calmness returning to the middle as Smuts comes on strike. He'd ideally love for Similani to stick around with him and form some sort of partnership here for the Dolphins, as there's a bit of clouds looming.
I think just that just shows the experience of Smart there. You know, when they went through for that single, you saw him nod his head to the youngster that, like, that's it. Just push it about, let's go about. As we finish the 6th over, the Knights are 48 for Dolphins, sorry, are 48 for 1. The Knights have brought it back. The Dolphins are off to a good start. They were sitting at like 47 after 4 overs. So the Knights have done really well to bring it back here. And once again, Smart having a long conversation with the youngster, telling him, you know, take your time, get your eye in, and you can do what we all know you are capable of doing, and don't search.
6 overs gone now. The Dolphins currently sitting at 48 for 1 in pursuit of that 175 the ITEC Knights set them. It will be Patrick Kruger to continue from the Umgeni end, also the commentary box end, as we are situated right behind the bowling arm of Patrick Kruger at this stage. His first over only conceding 2 runs, taking along with him the wicket of Marcus Ackerman as he continues from the commentary box end.
And those who've played in the ground for a long time, they will know that when the southeasterly starts to blow across the ground, you might start to experience some swing. And there's a nice breeze now starting to come across the ground, so you would want to pitch the ball up. We saw when the first wicket fell, the ball was rather wide, but it was pitched up and they got the edge. So I think the Knights need to start using the conditions to their favour.
As we see a change in the field, deep mid wicket being dropped back onto the fence as Patrick Kruger's in towards Similani. Short, it's up in the air, fielder coming around, and he takes the catch. Reinhard van Tonde out in the fence, safe as houses, and young Similani has to depart, and one has to feel a bit of a struggled innings, maybe laboured a bit to the 2 runs that he made. A clear plan, the field being dropped back on the leg side, the ball being pitched short of a length, up in there, and Reinhard van Tonder makes no mistake out on the fence. 49 for 2, the Dolphins after 6.2.
I think with that dismissal, it kind of showed that maybe the Dolphins went for the jugular too quick, with Similani being pushed up the order to you know, try and finish off the game. The Dolphins were off to a good start, a really good partnership that started the innings, so you'd have wanted them just to consolidate from there. They were not behind the 8 ball, so I mean, you could see when Similani was brought in, he was never comfortable at the crease. He was fetching, and I think right now this brings the Knights back into the game and in control.
And the wicket of Similani bring to the crease the exciting Rwanda Swart. The Swart, of course, having missed a big part of this year's campaign due to injury. The Dolphins being delighted and eager to get him back into the mix as soon as possible. And he'd look to come to the crease with some impetus here for the Dolphins, who's currently 49 for 2 after 6.2. John Smuts have been started to strike the last couple of overs. The Swart, of course, coming to the crease. This is 28th match and career average in List A cricket of 55.5. So really an accomplished List A player thus far. A real prospect for South African cricket.
He's got a very good strike rate, I mean, I think now Smart and Swart, one of them needs to play a Fantonda innings for the Dolphins. One of them needs to be there at the end to give the Dolphins a chance of getting a win here. The Knights have fought really hard to rein things in and put themselves back in the game. So I think this partnership right now is very pivotal and key to it'll kind of steer which direction the game is going. Smart has got bags of experience. So I think he'll be talking to his partner at the end, let's see it through, let's bet deep.
As Kruger continues over the wicket to left-handed the Swart,
Oi.
who fiddles that one outside the off stump. An excellent piece of bowling by Kruger. He's been impressive since coming on today. He's been impressive throughout the season. A lot of people have called for him to bowl more, and I'm glad to see the calls being heard and Kruger being given more of an opportunity with the ball.
I think Kruger's understood the conditions. I think Kruger's bowling seam up. Kruger's trying by all means to pitch the ball up, give the ball a chance to swing. And I think, look at that, it's great bowling by him, And that's great aggressive running. Good cricket all round, great bowling by Kruger, giving the ball a chance to swing, whether it's off the pitch or through the air. And that's why he's got the 2 wickets that he's got. Reminds me of a certain Vernon Philander, He's got a nice control, giving the ball a chance to swing.
As we see the 50 runs being achieved by the Dolphins. 50 runs or 42 balls it's taken them. 6.4 overs to be exact. The Duckworth, Lewis and Parr score now, of course, 53. As you see Kruger continue from the Ungeni end. Bit of pace off the ball and steered past forward point as they scamper through for a second.
I think right now the spinning options for the Knights is going to be key. I think you're just going to need someone to just hold off one end, drive the runs off from one end, while the other end they look to attack. Just someone to support Kruger at the moment, because Kruger's been bowling really well since he's come on. He's holding it down for his team.
Kruger now to finish out his second on the pads and whipped out towards deep mid wicket where Patrick Botha is situated. Keeps it down to 1, and that brings about the end of the 7th over. The score now 53 for 2 after 7 overs. John Smuts, the Chief Destroyer, sitting at 37 not out at this stage, and Rwanda Swart, new to the wicket, currently on only the single run. The Dolphins require a further 123 runs to win, and the Duckworth Lewis Parr score, if it were to come and rain now, being 59. As there is a bit of cloud cover, and it looks like we will be seeing a change of bowling from the Old Fort end. An important spell in the context of the game, and a real wicket taker he has been throughout his career, not only at the Knights. It will be ITEC Knights skipper Aubrey Swanepoel to bowl his right arm mystery spin from the Old Fort end.
And I think that's what we were talking about, the spinning option. The spinning that's going to come on to hold off an end. And I think this is a big call by the skipper to bring himself onto the game, to just dry things up. And I don't think he'll be looking to take wickets, but just dry off an end, let the batsman create mistakes at this very moment, because the game is nice and evenly poised at the moment. So you think the next play in the game will kind of suggest as to where the game is going. But I'm really excited to see his spell right now, how he's going to go about operating with this beautiful mystery of spin bowling.
Swanepoel will be bowling at John Smuts. Short and pulled away towards deep backward square leg for a single run. It is of course his bowling partner, Patrick Kruger, situated out at deep square leg. Kruger of course being Swanepoel's brother as well, half brother. As we see a change of field for the left-handed Rwanda Swart. Deep square leg, deep mid wicket, a long off and sweep out on the cover boundary. In place, shorty's catching cover, backward point and short third man, 45, as we see Swanepoel in at the pads, slides down the leg side, beats the keeper, beats the bat, beats the pads, and 4 runs added to extras, as that is also signalled wide by the umpire. So not the ideal start to this over. 1 short and 1 down leg, 6 runs off the first ball, and Swanepoel would ideally like to pull it back now.
I think at the moment Swanepoel might have a problem in his hands if he does not get a grip, because it is already used up 5 bowlers and you're only in the 7th over. he's already used up 5 bowlers, meaning he's not getting anyone consistent to hold up an end, and he himself just needs to rein it in here a bit, just get some dot balls, bring the Knights back in the game. I mean, if he's used up 5 bowlers already, who do you think he'll bring back on or look at if his own spell does not go according to plan?
Swanepoel continues round the wicket. Wide at the crease, angled in towards the stump. De Swart leans back and cuts that out towards the sweeper fence where Roo does the tidying up. I do feel Patrick Kruger might continue at the Umgeni end. And if things maybe don't go according to plan for Swanepoel, he might look towards Snyman. As we see Swanepoel rather.
Oh, bowled him.
He bowled him.
Coming
back off the straight, looked to be the googly. John Smuts playing the wrong line. And Obi Swanepoel, with things going his way, I'd imagine he'd continue from that end. An important passage of play coming here for the Knights, and it does feel like the ITEC Knights might have the upper hand in this contest.
And that's the mystery you're talking about, Mr. Spinner. John Spud rocks back on the back foot, looks to punch him through the covers, and I think the ball, does it cut back in or does it spin back in? Because it's a mystery bowler where you don't know it's seam up or is an offie, but Smart are looking to just punch that through the covers for one, inside edge, bowled him, and I think that's the perfect wicket to get for the Knights. Smart was well set to play a Fantonda innings, and I think if the Knights keep taking wickets the way they are now, it's going to put pressure on the Dolphins. A set batsman gone 160 for 3 for the Dolphins after 7.5 overs.
Now John Smuts being starved with the strike for the last 3 to 4 overs, and it shows. Maybe a bit of impatience showing, being frustrated, not seeing enough of the strike the last few overs. Of course, the departure of John Smuts, seeing Jason Smith come to the wicket, this being his 60th List A match at an average of 31, coming in at number 5 for the Hollwoodbets Dolphins. The Dolphins require a further 116 runs to win, and you have to say, momentum being on the Knights side at this stage.
I think you'd say right now it's advantage Knights, you know. I think that's the pressure though. That's the pressure of putting a total on the board. Once you put a total on the board, you put pressure on the batting team. Because right now, Dolphins can't afford to lose another wicket in a short space of time. The skipper has done a great call by pulling himself on. I think now you can say to the lads, that's it boys, that's how you do it. You know, if you stick to a line and length, you get wickets. And right now it's 60 for 3. Oh,
on the money once again by Obi Swanepoel, getting that on the straight and off the stumps, maybe spinning away ever so slightly at the front of the hand. Brings an end to the 8th over. The score now 60 for 3 after 8. Swanepoel's first over yielding only 7 runs and the wicket of John Smuts. The score now 60 for 3 after 8 overs. And the Dolphins requiring a further 116 runs off 14 overs over the required rate of 8.3, currently going at 7.5 to the over. As there seems to be a change in the bowling, it will be the left arm spin of Monde Makunku from the Umgeni end, or the commentary box end.
We spoke about the rotational changes by the captain. I think it's making the whole team, share the load. I think it's his 6th bowler coming on, Monde Makuku. Big over this for Monde Makuku. A lot of potential. Pressure on him. He's a young lad. I think this is the right time to bring it on. I think it's the right call by the captain and the Dolphins are kind of behind the 8 ball and under pressure. The right time to put the youngster on.
On the money first up as the Swart pushes that one out towards square leg. Roo does well to keep it down to 1. And the ideal time for the young spinner to come on to have a bowl. 2 new batters at the crease. The right-hander Jason Smith on strike now. As we see a change in the field. Deep square leg, deep mid wicket. Mid on is up in the ring. A wide long off out on the fence. And a sweeper patrolling the offside fence. catching point and a short third man in place as he continues around the wicket. In at the pads and nicely negotiated by Smith.
Nice bowling. I think what he wants to do is to get to this over unscathed, and I think if he does do that, then it puts a lot of pressure on the Dolphins, because right now they can't afford to take a chance. Down the track and just pat it back to the bowler. So Dolphins are looking to make play here. They're looking to do something.
A little bit short, drag down. Smith leans back and cuts that one out towards the offside fence, where Roo does the tidying up. As we see the field change over once more, and a cool breeze coming across the field now as the left-handed De Swart comes back on strike. But wicket shifts a bit wider, mid-on also a bit squarer as he comes down the track. Nice and tidy off his own bowling. One more delivery to come in this, the 9th over of the Dolphins innings.
It's been a great over by Ngungu here. He's really bowled well, really showed good control. Batters have tried to make a play, but he's really controlled his bowling. Great over for the Knights. Pressure for the Dolphins. We're in the 9th over, they're 62 for 3, and I think they'll keep looking over their shoulder. The Duckworth-Lewis system right now, they're currently behind the 8th ball, so I think that conversation you are seeing happen at the middle of the pitch, I think they're going to have to choose, they're going to have to play rock, paper, scissors as who's going to go for it. One of them needs to make a play.
Of course, the Duckworth-Lewis pass score at this stage, 76. That, of course, being the result of 3 wickets going down, as we see Swanepoel out the front of the hand. Smith might feel he missed out on that one. Excellent piece of fielding in the covers by Van Biljon. Swanepoel will be very thankful as he continues once again in at the pads.
I think Swanepoel is enjoying life at the moment. He's bowling in Miami. He's the only guy with sunglasses out, so I don't know where he's playing. I don't see the sun anyway, but I mean right now it's some great bowling. Oh, it's those glasses.
Swanepoel too cool for school as he cleans up Jason Smith. Obviously those sunglasses making him see another game here, another wicket, as the Hollwoodbets Dolphins slumped to 62 for 4 and really in all sorts of trouble at this stage, with the upper hand firmly being held by the ITEC Knights at this stage. Aubrey Swanepoel with an impressive bowling change, bringing himself on with a double strike here for the ITEC Knights.
I think right now Knights are in a fantastic position as we're about to slide into the all-rounders for the Dolphins. Still 114 runs behind, 12.3 overs left, and we are sliding into the all-rounders, so the Dolphins need to get going here.
The wicket of Jason Smith, of course, bringing the experienced campaigner and the Protea player in Andile Petlekwayo to the middle. Another left-hander, 2 left-handers now to be in the middle, with Ron De Swart already being in the middle. He is now joined by Andile Petlekwayo, and the Dolphins will look towards him to play an innings of substance here to try and get their side over the line. Petlekwayo, of course, this is 133rd List A game, an average of 27, highest score of 100 against the Lions in Johannesburg. Petlekwayo maybe with a point to prove here.
Big knock for Andile. He's gone ahead of a few to be put up front. But I think for Andile, having watched him for a long time, I think he'd have been happier coming in with maybe 30 or 40 to get. It's a big knock for him. This shows a great trust from the team, from the captain, to push Andile up front. I mean, give him some responsibility. I think that the conversation was short and sweet. Andile, go and win us the game. And if he kicks off, we might go home and be in time for the Soccer World Cup. But we'll see, because Swanepoel is in Miami right now. He's having the time of his life with the ball.
I wouldn't mind seeing a slip in place here. In your big matches and big run chases, you need your big players to step up, and Aubrey Swanepoel has done exactly that. The Dolphins now, of course, looking towards their big player, the seasoned campaigner of Andile Petlequire, who is on strike. That is off the outside half of the bat. Aubrey Swanepoel, his tail up now. A whole bag of tricks up his sleeve, getting the ball to move both ways, up and down, left and right. And he looks good as well while doing it, those sunnies.
Oh yes, Paul Adams there, looking great. Looking great with those signings, big knock. And Andile's off the mark, a punch down to mid-off. His account is ticking. There's a lot to get there for him. 113 more to get in 12 overs.
As you see, Rwanda Swart back on strike now for one more delivery in this, the 10th over of the innings. And he goes for it, it's up, it's off. The Swart dispatches that one over the mid-on fielder for 6 more. And 6 runs the Dolphins so desperately needed. The score now 69 for 4 after 10 overs.
Boom shakalaka, as they would say back in my homeland. Up and away. Hopefully that'll kickstart the Dolphins innings. The fans have come for a party, and I think it's time that the Dolphins deliver. Great shot. Clearing the rope with ease. Great shot. Dolphins 69 4-4 after 10 overs, and they're needing a further 107 runs to win.
The left arm spinner to continue from the Umgeni end. Of course, his left arm rolling over just in front of us here in the commentary box. He will be going to the Protea player in Andile Petlequire. What a moment for the youngster, bowling to a seasoned campaigner in Andile Petlequire. 4 guys out on the fence, deep square leg, deep mid wicket, long on and deep point as he comes around the wicket.
Oh.
Slog sweep out towards deep mid wicket. It plugs in the outfield and Patrick Kruger comes around and keeps it down to 2. Petlequire making his intentions clear, hitting out towards the long boundary. Petlequire, of course, being a hitter of a big ball.
Oh yes.
If he hits it, it tends to stay hit.
Try to clear the front leg and smash it over a cow for a 6. He comes down the track again. Great shot.
He smears that wide of mid-off, who is up in the ring. It speeds away across the fence, across the turf really, into the fence. And you perhaps have to feel maybe that they should bring deep point up in the ring. Maybe drop long off back, especially with the line he's bowling now, coming around the wicket, maybe darting it in at the pads.
I think it's not fair what Andile is doing, bullying the young man, teaching him the hard way. Andile goes down the track again, it's a big one. It's gone for 6. Boom shakalaka once again. That's staying hit.
Petlequire with his dancing shoes on. It's a skip and up, down the track to the pitch of the ball. And he just sends it over long off for 6 runs. As we see Jacques Snyman collect the ball from some eager fans at the long off boundary. As we see long off drop back onto the fence, as we alluded to earlier. And deep point coming up into the ring. Be interesting to see what Petlequire does now. Does he keep going? Does he try another option? Does he bunt it down the ground?
I think it's a big test for Mangungu now. Big test for him.
Off the back foot.
Close up.
Towards square leg where Rue does a tidying up. Already 11 runs. 13 runs rather. Of the first 4 balls. Taking all the pressure off the Swart, who now only has 2 balls to negotiate. The score now 82.
I think maybe the Dolphins pick this over to go hard at Mangungu. We'll see what the Swart will do now with these 2 balls that he's going to face.
Down the ground by the Swart towards Bueta, who is situated at a long on. 1 ball to come. You might get the sense. You get the sense that they're targeting the youngster. Do you think he's going to go for him again? Maybe get the single and keep the strike?
Knowing Andile, he will definitely go for him. He'll definitely go for him. Oh. Youngster pushing it in nice and quick, flat.
That brings an end to a rather expensive over from the Knights. The score now 83 for 4 after 11. The Duckworth-Lewis pass score now 93, so the Dolphins 10 runs behind Duckworth-Lewis at this stage, but you get the feeling if these two batsmen can hang around, that won't be an issue. As it looks to be Swanepoel will be continuing from around the wicket from the Old Ford end.
That is 6 bowlers used already by the skipper, and he's keeping himself on. This is a big over for him. This is his 3rd over. A lot of pressure on him because Mangungu went fetched. So a big over here for Swanepoel. Nice bowling. Nice bowling by the captain. Nice and straight. Making the batsman make play.
Swanepoel continues round the wicket.
Oh, bang.
And it's a real umpire killer as the Swart bunts that one down the ground. The wet outfield may be slowing it down quite a bit as they come through for a second. The two left-handed batters of the Dolphins' intentions made clear here.
Ump really did well there. Kept his eyes on the ball, ducked nicely under it. He still got it.
As we see a change in the field, long on being dropped back. Cover being brought into the ring as Swanepoel continues around the wicket. In at the pads and punch down the ground towards that long on fielder who has been put in place, bringing Andile Petlukwai on strike. And you have to feel there's going to be a winner and there's going to be a loser in this contest. None of these two, neither the bowler nor the batter, going to die wondering. Some fire with fire. Exciting stuff, making so for some good viewership here.
I think it's a very critical phase of the game. You can see something has got to give. With Andile at the top edge, they got a call taken. Andile.
An excellent catch in the covers by Botha. And Swanepoel being the victor, as we knew they were going to be fire with fire. Petlukwai not holding back, and he departs for 14.
I think Swanepoel needs to get a call, get on a plane, take it down to Australia. He's having a really good time, bowling really well, holding his own, holding his nerve, and getting the wicket of Andile. Dolphins now 86 for 5.
The Proteas batter departs for 14 of 8 balls, bright and breezy, but not ideal for the Dolphins. And the South African legend, Sean Pollock, firmly believes that high tide here in Durban brings about wickets.
Oh yes.
Do you perhaps think it's high tide in Durban at this stage?
Right now it's looking like it's high tide. It feels like it's high tide. The Knights are getting the wickets they need when they need them. Andile came in. Dolphins are clawing their way back in the game. I think they're behind again. I think this partnership right now is key really, because after these two, we are going to the all-rounders and the batters and the bowlers.
The new batsman to the wicket is Porteous, and he's had a good campaign thus far since coming into this Dolphins lineup. Bradley Porteous, 23 List A games at a high score of 100, that being against the Western Province in this week at Cape Town. An excellent innings he played. 3 50s and 100 thus far in his career. An exciting prospect for cricket here in KwaZulu-Natal. Highly spoken of, highly regarded. As we see Swanepoel changing to over the wicket, and he'd like to put a bit of pressure on the new batter here. I'd like to see a slip in play.
Oh yes, Mr. Swanepoel is loving life. It's the glasses, I'm telling you. He's seeing a different game to everybody else. He's come on and he's done very well. He's taken wickets at the right time. Dolphins now, you would feel,
out the back of the hand, it looked to be a bit of a flipper or slider, one to skid on. Bit of variation from Swanepoel as Porteous is off the mark, first ball. And a vital partnership this for the Dolphins as the clouds come in ever quicker as Swanepoel continues round the wicket. Punched down the ground by the Swart. To end the over, the score now 88 for 5 after 12 overs for the Dolphins. The Duckworth-Lewis pass score 105. The Dolphins with 88 runs needed to win.
you got it there. The changing. Oh, you'll do it. Okay, sure. You shot, brother? Yes. Sweet. Yes. Sorry. We've got a change in commentary. My good friend Zane Bucks is here to join me. Mr. H, Dolphins, 88 on the board, 5 wickets down, needing a further 88 runs to win. What must happen?
Yeah, thanks, Quinny. I think the Dolphins got off to a really good start. Really attacked the power play and were flying from the start. The Knights have done an excellent job in getting themselves back into the game. Swanepoel has been key with those 3 wickets, and I think 3 big wickets as well. Taking out the batter that was going well, Smuts, Jason Smith, who's been awesome for the Dolphins this season. And then obviously the Dolphins Protea batter, Andile Peshwakwayo. I think what the Dolphins have to do here is build a little bit of a partnership. They've lost wickets in regular intervals. The Swat is looking set, and then the informed batter in this competition for the Dolphins so far. This competition has been Porteous. He's scored quite a few runs in club cricket leading into this. He's got his opportunity in this competition, and he's really taken it with both hands. So I think while Porteous and De Swart are at the crease, the Dolphins still have a really good chance.
Great shot.
Excellent shot by De Swart. Kruger back into the attack, and De Swart playing a lofted drive over mid-off for 6. I think it's an excellent start to the beginning of the over. Putting Kruger under a bit of pressure. Dolphins can now build on that, hopefully rotate strike, and look to finish the over well.
Kruger had a very good start with his first spell. Took a couple of wickets. It'll be a big spell for him coming back now. I think what Swanepoel has done, I think he's trying to finish the innings off here by bringing his best bowler. See if he can't nick off one more. I think that's the message out there right now for the Knights. One more. I think if they get one more, they're into the bowlers. But the Dolphins will fight back. I mean, that's the spirit of the Dolphins. 94 for 5 at the moment. Ooh.
Kruger to the Swat, and that one's just kept a little bit low. Looked to be back of a length. The Swat on the pull, expecting it to get up a little bit more, but it hasn't. Keeper's taken a good take on the bounce there.
It's been a good afternoon. We started off with some rain. There was a time I don't think we'll get any play. I think with the Duckworth-Lewis system, Dolphins are currently behind the 8th ball. I think maybe that's why we're seeing the shots that we're seeing, because the clouds are coming back in, and it's looking like the Dolphins have about 40-45 minutes, Mr. H, to wrap the game up before it rains, because they're currently behind the Duckworth.
Yeah, the clouds are coming back in for sure. The Dolphins are behind in the Duckworth-Lewis, but I think we're going to get the 9 overs in to complete the match. I think that's the way the Dolphins batters have to approach it. I think they've got to look to take it deep. They've got to look to take it to the last over, cash in on the boundary when they can at the start of the over, and then look to rotate strike well. I think the more and more they stay with the rate, when we get to that final couple of overs and the Dolphins are needing 16 to win, I think all pressure then on the Knights, but I think the Dolphins have got to build a partnership to get to that stage.
And that's it. It's the end of the over. The Dolphins are currently 96 for 5 after 13 overs, needing a further 80 runs to win, with 9 overs left. Now, as the batting team, Zane, do you focus on Duckworth, or at the moment it's like, guys, let's just focus on winning the game in the 9 overs? When do you start worrying or planning about being behind in the Duckworth-Lewis, or you just forget about it and focus when it happens, or are they talking about it right now in the Dolphins change room?
I think right now the Dolphins have probably got to look to stay with the rate as best they can. Like I said, I don't think we're going to get any more rain. I think we're going to complete the overs that are left in the game, the 9 overs that are left. So I think the Dolphins have got to take it over by over, look to stay with the rate. In that way, putting pressure on the Knights. But I think let's give credit where credit is due. The Knights have been brilliant in controlling the run rate. They've taken wickets at the right time. They've really put the Dolphins better under pressure by bowling consistent dot balls, which has led to the Dolphins forcing shots and taking wickets. So the Knights, I think, have been brilliant. I think they're playing one of the better games of their tournament so far. But there's still lots to play for.
Matoa is back in the attack now. Looking to see if he can just tie things down a bit more. So straight at the rib cage, cutting back in from back of a length. It's going to be so in the morning, as they would say, but as you know, all batsmen don't show the pain. Right now, as Dolphins need to make something happen right now. 79 to win at a rate of 9.1. It's going to take some going.
As Matau comes into Deswat again. Looks like a slower ball, wide outside off stump. Deswat heaves it away to the cow corner boundary. That's a short boundary. I think having Deswat in, being a left-hander, hitting towards that short leg side boundary is key for the Dolphins. When he gets the opportunity, I think he's got to look to pounce on that and put the ball away. Matau is bowling with deep square leg, cow corner out at the moment. He comes into Porteous. Dot ball, really good hard length. Porteous looking to work that ball into the leg side. But dot ball, another good, valuable dot ball for the Knights.
You can just sense the body language for the Knights has changed. They can sense something here. There's a lot of chatter out there, a lot of clapping, a lot of cheering on. They can sense that there's a victory here for them. Great bowling. It's great bowling. It's been a good over. Good over. They can feel something's about to give here, the Knights. Dolphins currently sitting at 98, 78 runs behind.
I think that's a really good, well-directed bumper. He's bowled one in his first spell that really took off, and this is the second. Fielders in the ring are really tight as he comes into bowl to Porteous.
That's a cracker. Absolute Jeffer.
Excellent ball. He's really had a good day with the ball. Nipped the ball away from the right-handers consistently in his first spell. He's done this again in the second spell. Matau take a bow. It's an excellent ball, nicking off Porteous, the form batter for the Dolphins, and I think the Dolphins definitely under a little bit of pressure now.
It's a great call by the skipper. I think Sonopol has done really well with his bowlers. He's done well with his troops. He's changed up at the right time. He's known when to bring in who, great bowling right now by the Knights. And as you said, Dolphins now are really under pressure. Really under pressure. Sitting at 98 for 6 after 14 overs.
That brings Itsole, the Dolphins wicketkeeper batter, to the crease. Usually a top order batter, I think, finding himself in a little bit of uncharted territory here down at the bottom. But very capable. I think the plan for Itsole here is going to look to get Deswat on strike. Deswat to take most of the strike. I think he's the key man now for the Dolphins in this partnership as Itsole looks to rotate strike. Matau, brilliant over, wicket to finish. Really good for the Knights, and I think they're playing the best game of the competition so far here at Kingsmead.
We did say at the beginning of the day, it'll just be a matter of who uses the conditions well. The Knights won the toss. They decided to bat first. They put a really good total on the board. Now they're bowling again, and you sense that there's a bit of swing out there now. And the captain himself has used his bowlers really well. Once again, there's a change of bowling. Snyman is coming back into the attack. Once again, they're going for for a bit of mystery spin here, Zane.
Yeah, I think the Knights have really rotated their bowlers well. Every time a bowler's had an opportunity to bowl, he's come on and done a job. I think dot balls have been key. And every time the Dolphins have looked to get going after the power play, they've lost the wicket. So it's been an excellent performance so far in the field by the Knights. As Snyman comes into Deswat down the wicket, looking to hit the ball over the top edge, caught at point. Deswat, key man out. Snyman gets a breakthrough in his first ball back in his second spell. Tricky catch at point, but the Dolphins further under pressure.
Dolphins lose their 7th wicket, 98 on the board after 14 overs, needing a further 78 runs. Snyman picks up a wicket. You know, you gotta really appreciate the captaincy right now. He's been able to change his bowlers, and every time he's changed his bowlers, his success has been brought on. So, Zane, do you think it's a plan that we're gonna rotate our bowlers after every 2 overs, or do you mostly just go according to the conditions? Because they've used up six bowlers. You know, is it a plan that's how we play our cricket, or we're gonna assess the conditions and then I'm just gonna chop it up?
I think definitely based on the conditions, and I think by changing the bowlers doesn't allow the batter to settle on one particular bowler. But I think the Knights have read the conditions really well. They've made regular changes to their bowler to the bowlers. And look, it's not easy when you have an over here and over there to come on and start well, but I think the bowlers have been excellent in their execution. Every time they've got an opportunity to bowl, they've come on and they've been able to bowl the dot balls, been able to take a breakthrough. So fair play to them. I think they've been excellent in their execution. But that wicket brings Pranillan Subrine to the crease, the Dolphins captain. Pranillan, an absolute warrior, has the ability to hit the long ball. If there ever was a man for the occasion, he would be it. Dolphins are in a position now where they have a hell of a lot to do.
With the captain coming on there, as I would say, come with the man, come with the hour. You got to see that, you know, being behind the 8 ball as the skipper, you want to bat as deep as you can or finish off the game. But as you say, he's a warrior. He will do his utmost best to win the game for his side.
Snyman into Subrine, forward defence to start, dot ball.
And you can just sense the body language now. It's really up. Knights are sensing it. Guys are walking in hard. There's a lot of chat out there. Cut away by the skipper. They're going back for 2nd. Great fielding out on the boundary. 3rd. Brilliant running by the Dolphins. Great fielding, great cricket.
Yeah, excellent running by the Dolphins there. Short and wide. Pranillan Subrine cuts through point to the long boundary and they've run 3. I think that was the key in the Knights innings. They ran really well. Lots of 2s, ran with really good intent even when they ran 1. There's a good start there from Subrine.
And that shot would bring up the Dolphins 100. 101 for 7 after 14 overs. Punched on the ground.
Tole drives the ball down to long off for 1. Pranillan Subrine back on strike. Knights are protecting that short boundary here to Subrine. We've got long on, cow corner, a deep square leg.
Oh,
Snyman coming around the wicket, going across Subrine. On the back foot, looking to pull the ball into that region between long on and cow corner. Missing it. Valuable dot ball. Snyman again around the wicket. Forward defense from Subrine. Dot ball. That brings to end another very good over for the Knights. A wicket taking over.
The run rate keeps climbing. Dolphins need 10 to the over now. 7 overs left. There are 102 on the board with the captain and the taller at the crease. I think the conversation they're having right now, I think one of them needs to get going while the other sits deep. So out of the two batters out there, who hits a long ball? Who would you choose? Or is there a conversation that they're going to have right now that you bat deep, I'm going to go for it? Because the run rate's sitting at 10 and over.
I think Pranel and Subrian definitely the one that can hit the long ball. But another bowling change sees Swanepoel back into the attack. So as he comes into Ditole off the back foot deep in the crease, back foot punch to cover for one. Yeah, I think Swanepoel back on at the right time. I think he knows if he gets the wicket of Subrian, then that's pretty much done for the Dolphins. I think Subrian can definitely hit the long ball. Just interested to see whether they look to attack Swanepoel or not. Being the best bowler for the Knights, I think they might just look to work him around and then work from there in the remaining 6 overs. Subrian just punches that down to long on for 1 run.
It's been a really good bowling effort here by Swanepoel, sitting with 3 wickets for 20 runs. He's done really, really well. He came on when Dolphins were really sitting on it, and he's brought it back. He's really brought it back. I think the Dolphins will just see him through and then see after the 16th over where they go from there.
It's another 1 run down to long on or long off. Good drive from Ditole. Subrian on strike. It's back of a length. Subrian on the cut. Misses out. Dot ball.
And the run rate keeps climbing. It's sitting at 11.2 at the moment. Oh.
That's an excellent run. Excellent run by the Dolphins. Little drop into the pocket on the offside. Extra cover running in to get that ball, but the Dolphins managed to scamper through for the single. Excellent single there by Pranel and Subrian.
Swanepoel coming in. Oh, it's been a great spell by him. Great bowling. I think he's got one more over to go.
Yeah, I'm sure Swanepoel, being the pick of the bowlers here on the day, is going to bowl that 5th over. 4 overs, 2 for 23. He's been excellent so far in his execution. I think he's going to save himself to bowl right at the back end, 1 more. I think the Dolphins have got to make a play here. Like you say, with each dot ball, the run rate keeps climbing. 11.7 at the moment. I think Subrian is going to have a go. He's hitting with the short boundary on the leg side. Snyman around the wicket to Subrian. Subrian comes down the wicket. Or hints to come down. Plays and misses. The back foot in the crease and a dot ball.
It's been a great bowling effort by the team, I think, for the Knights. Look at all the bowlers used. I think everybody's played their part. Everybody's understood the game plan. They're stuck to it. Putting pressure on the batters. Another dot ball by Swanepoel or by Snyman.
Snyman executing so well here, coming around the wicket to Subrian. Varying his pace but going across the right-handed batter who's looking to target that short boundary on the leg side. Subrian comes down the wicket. Big shot. 1 to long on.
And the run rate is climbing. So you'd swear the run rate's got a plane to catch, H. It's not stopping. It's just going up and up. It's got a plane to catch. Dolphins just got to get going. They need boundaries. Run rate sitting at 12.5. It's got a plane to catch.
Ditole gives himself space. Hits the ball to that shorter boundary. Splits the long on or long off. And the deep cover boundary. The Dolphins scamper through for 2. Really good diving effort from the fielder in extra cover. Fortunately couldn't make the stop and the Dolphins scoring 2 off that ball. I think you're 100% right here, Quinton. The Dolphins have got to make a play. Boundaries are key here. Last ball, reverse sweep. Ditole misses out.
And how the game has changed. Because the batter's changed his shot, changed his stance basically. It won't be called a wide. Oh.
Short ball, but really slow. Snyman making good use of the changes of pace here. Ditole on the pull shot towards the long boundary, but misses out. Dot ball to finish the over. Run rate now at 13.4 runs an over. And the Dolphins desperately need a few big hits to drop that run rate down and give themselves a chance of getting in touching distance of that night's score.
I think if you're a Dolphins supporter right now, you would feel like you're putting extra pressure on you, but the Dolphins are behind the Duckworth Lewis. They should be 143 currently. The run rate is sitting at 13.4. They're needing a further 64 runs to win with only 3 wickets in hand.
Cornelius Subrayan works that ball down to the long on fielder. Just 1 run down to long on. Ditole on strike. Swanepoel into his last over. I think he knows here if he can get Ditole or Pranelin Subrayan now, the game is pretty much done. Excellent shot by Ditole, giving himself room, backing away to the leg side, playing a cut shot through to the deep cover boundary. Excellent fielding there by the field on the cover boundary, making good ground. Clean pick up with a good throw in.
It's been a great bowling display by the skipper. I think great shot. Only for a single. Dolphins need boundaries now. Tend to feel that singles won't get them anywhere, but Swanepoel is holding his own here. Mr. Mystery Bowler, he's done really well for this goal. Bang! Exactly what the Dolphins needed. Oh, just plug. They're turning back for a third. Oh, that's 2 there.
Yeah, I think that the Dolphins require a little bit more of that. Ditole looking to hit that ball over the top. Slog sweep over the long on fielder. Ball just plugging in the outfield. Dolphins scamper back for 2. Swanepoel comes into Ditole. Slog sweep again. Out towards the cow.
Oh!
6 runs.
At the big hit. As I would say back in my hometown, boom shakalaka. That's going and it's staying lost. Great hit by Ditole. I think Dolphins in about 10 to 8 of those right now. Great shot. Swanepoel going for a few in his last over.
Fantastic hit by Ditole, taking on that short boundary. Slog sweep. Clearly a strength of his, able to pop the mid-on fielder and hit that away. Swanepoel back in. Reverse sweep, Ditole. Brilliant, finds the gap. Looking at that field, Swanepoel bowling with a short third man, a really backward point on square. Ditole finding the gap between the 2 points for 4 to the longer boundary. Excellent shot, excellent finish for the over. Run rate has dropped now to 13 runs an over. But a brilliant over from the Dolphins, and they need more of that.
Great batting by Ditole. If the run rate's got a plane to catch, I think Ditole's got a jet to catch. He's getting along with it right now and is going at a rate of knots. Reverse sweep, bang to cow corner. Young man's got a jet to catch here, H.
Yeah, I think the Dolphins definitely need more of that. That's brilliant batting, brilliant innovation. I love the way he's gone slog sweep 2 in a row over long on, and then he's changed it up and gone reverse sweep and hit another area of the field. Brilliant innovation from Ditole. We've got a change in bowler. Kruger back on for his 4th. He's bowled a really good couple of spells so far. 3 overs, 2 for 15. Pranelin Subrayan looking to target Kruger for sure. Subrayan goes big towards the long off boundary. There's a drop catch by both on the long long off boundary, but I think he saved 6 runs there. Brilliant execution of the wide ball just inside that wide line to Sir Brian, looking to hit the ball to the short boundary. The Dolphins have managed to get back for 2. In comes Kruger again at Sir Brian. Oh, hard length, good carry through to the keeper, a swing and a miss.
So you think with that drop catch, what do you think Kruger's thinking? Drop catch or good fielding?
I think we'll have to decide that one after the game. Kruger into Sir Brian again, no doubt targeting that short boundary. Shuffles across, hits the ball straight. Kruger comes across that long off. Dolphins come back for 2. Brilliant fielding by Botha.
I think it's party time now. I think we are in for a treat. Dolphins are going to give it a real good go. They need a further 48 runs to win.
Bit of a chat happening here. Captain, long on fielders come in from the boundary to have a chat to Kruger and Swanepoel. You see a change in the field. Square leg coming up. Swanepoel making his way to deep extra cover. A fielder a little bit straighter than that, bowling with almost 2 long offs. Kruger into Sir Brian, batting outside the off stump. Bang!
Big hit!
It's high, both is under it. Oh, he's flicked it back into the field. The long on fielder unable to take it. Lovely effort again from both. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
I think you and I are going to have a very good conversation after the game once again. Drop catch or good fielding. I think if you are Kruger, you're saying it's 2 drop catches.
And then Sir Brian really looking to take Kruger downtown here. Again, batting outside off stump as Kruger comes in. Length.
Oof.
Length cutter under the bat. Dot ball. Really good change up from Kruger.
It's a really interesting field set here. It's really intriguing. You've got your fine leg up, you've got your square leg up, you've got your third man up, you've got your point, and you've got mid on and mid off on the boundary. Cow sitting deep.
I think he knows Brunel Sir Brian's looking to go downtown here. As he comes in again to Sir Brian. Wide. He's looked to execute that wide Yorker. Just a little bit too wide on that occasion. And the umpire, Dennis Smith, signals a wide.
Do you think Sir Brian is capable of a Dilshan scoop?
I think he is, but I think he's definitely looking to take Kruger downtown, or he's going over that short boundary, wanting to put him into the west stand. And in comes Kruger to Sir Brian. Shuffle, hit towards long on, and a brilliant catch taken by the fielder at long on. Dolphins captain Brunel Sir Brian departs, and Kruger gets another.
I think Kruger will say, great catch, great fielding. He's really happy this time. 1 has stuck. Dolphins now, they've lost their 8 wicket, 131 for 8. The run rate sitting at 15 runs to the over. They've lost their captain. And as they would say, I think the end is near. But we can't take away anything from the night. It's been a great performance with the bat. When Fatunda came in at a really difficult time, he put on a good knock. Dolphins got off to a good start when they were batting. Captain put himself on. You know, it's been a great team performance with the ball and on the field. Now the Knights needing a further 2 more wickets to win the game.
Darren de Pavlon coming out to the crease, known more for his bowling, but as he showed about a week ago against the Titans, he can still hit the ball as well. Oh, no, sorry, not against the Titans. I think it was a Northwest game
Yes.
where Andile Peshlekwayo and Darren de Pavlon were looking to win that game for the Dolphins. We're going to need a few more of those big hits from de Pavlon here as Mutau comes onto de Tole. Around the wicket, dot ball.
Pressure's on for the Dolphins.
Mutau has been brilliant today. He's really looked to bowl length. He's nipped the ball off the seam and he's proved to be quite a tricky customer for the Dolphins batters. He's bowled 3.1 overs now, 1 wicket for 11 runs. He's been brilliant in his execution. 15 runs an over to get for the Dolphins. They have to go one way here as Mutau
So that
comes
put
into
finally
the
wasn't
Tole.
up.
That's a dead ball. Change in the field. Finally goes back down. And the Knights bring up the long off fielder. Leg side fielder is covered with 4 fielders on the leg side boundary. Mutau into de Tole. Length again.
Bang, catch it.
Tole hits the ball out to the deep cover. And there's a drop catch. The Dolphins get through for 1 run. I think at this stage, although the Knights would be unhappy with that drop catch, I think they'd take the 1 run.
Crew and de Tole will show a beer after the game. They'll sympathize together. Now, as a team, Mr. Bugs, the Dolphins showed up this morning. They had prepared for 50 overs. We played 22 overs. How does that affect preparation? How does that affect preparation? The guys would have spent the whole of yesterday getting ready for 50 overs, and now they rock up today and they have to play 22 overs. How does that affect the preparation of the side? Maybe that's why the Dolphins found themselves in this position, because the lads had prepared for 50 overs. Or as a professional, you should always be ready for any kind of game.
I think the guys are professional, and they've been in these situations many times before. Mutau into de Pavlon. Short, cut shot, bit of a thick edge down to third man, and 1 run. De Pavlon wanting 2. De Tole sends him back, just a 1. Yeah, I think these guys are professionals. I think the Dolphins did well in the T20 campaign, and I would have backed them to have been better suited here. Although the Knights have got a few players that excel in the shorter format of the game. I think the Knights have just played brilliantly here. Really good energy in the field. They've really wanted this. They've really executed their skills well. Tole trying to pop that over mid-wicket, who's on the ring. Ball comes across, he takes the catch, de Tole out. Looks like it's all over here for the Dolphins.
Dolphins are 132 for 9. They have lost their 9th wicket, and you kind of feel the riding is on the wall right now. There's only 1 winner at the moment. But hey, cricket is a funny game, you never know. But as it stands, the end is nigh for the Dolphins. I mean, the knock by Fantonda was a great knock. He came in at a time where the Knights were under a lot of pressure. I mean, a knock like that, what does it do for a youngster? You know, what does it do for him? Because he came in at a tough time. Those were hard-earned runs. I'm sure he must be pretty chuffed with himself.
Yeah, that was a mature innings from Fantonda. Just over a run of ball, but he hit the spaces in the field well. Batted with really good intent. Ran really well. As the Knights lost wickets, Fantonda made sure that he saw it through to the end, and that not out is proving to be crucial here. New batsman, hat-trick taker, Bartman comes in to join his fellow fast bowler Darren de Pavlon. What have these 2 fast bowlers got up their sleeve for us?
I think they've got, between the 2 of them, maybe 3 sixes. Then you and I getting on a plane back home. I mean, we know. But it's been a really great performance by the Knights. You know, I must say, the way Swanepoel handled his bowlers, knew when to bring in who, shared the workload around. and it's proved a masterstroke by our man in glasses on a gloomy day.
As Matau runs in to bowl to Neil Bartman. Length. Bartman lets that one go. Dot ball to finish the over. Another brilliant over. Dolphins in dire straits here. 21.5 runs per over. If they are to get this, it's going to be very entertaining, but somehow I doubt it. I think the Knights are going to finish off this innings and claim a much needed win. I think they deserve it, though. They've played brilliantly today.
I think when the run rate had a plane to catch, I think it's safe to say that the run rate has sailed off. Dolphins aren't catching it now, needing 21 of every over from here on, with just 2 overs left. And as you said, a great performance by the Knights, and it's just a matter of them now closing it up.
Kruger comes in to Pavlon, short ball, pull shot out to the square leg fielder on the boundary just behind square, and that's 1 run. Kruger running back to his mark, wanting to finish this game quickly as he runs in again, this time bowling to Bartman. Straight length,
Trouble
a
here.
single down to 45. Field doesn't throw, just hold on to the ball, happy with the Dolphins getting 1 run.
I think Kruger's really bowled well with his captain today. They really controlled. I think Kruger has really used the condition. He's looked to give the ball a chance to swing. He's pitched it up nicely. Great shot down the ground for 1.
Good change of pace there. Wide of off stump. The Pavlon, big heave down to long off, just for 1. The Knights will be happy with that. Yeah, Kruger's been brilliant, as you say, along with his captain. Bowling his 5th over, 3 for 25. Absolutely outstanding spell. And there we have it. End of the innings. Kruger finishes it off. The straight ball, taking off stump back. Bartman out. And Kruger ending the Dolphins innings, picking up his 4th wicket. An absolutely brilliant display.
Great bowling by the Knights. They really put their A game. They've batted well. They've bowled well. Dolphins are 136 all out. The Knights have done it. They've won the game convincingly. We are thankful that we're able to have a game today. It's been a great day to be out, watching some cricket. Mr. H, before you and I sign off, just a prediction: France versus Argentina. Who wins the World Cup today?
Sure. I think I'm not going to give a prediction, but I would say that I'd want France to win.
Sound like a Manchester United fan, yeah?
Definitely
CR7.
not putting money on it. No, but at one stage we didn't think we'd get cricket in today, and the fact that we've got a game in has been absolutely brilliant. We've had a small crowd here that's come through after lunch to come and support and watch a bit of the game. The Knights have been absolutely superb, a much needed win to finish off what I think will be a tough season for them. Dolphins will definitely look to bounce back next week against the Lions here at Kingsmead in their final game. But an absolutely stunning performance as the players shake hands and walk off the field.
Brilliant. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you
Dolphins
for joining us.
versus the Knights at Hollywood Kingsmead Stadium. Thank you for joining us.